Chapter 21-28. He's here. When Lin Feng saw the blood-red eyes within the flames, his expression turned extremely grim. The master of Devil Prison was the legendary being that had walked out of the netherworld. Back then, he'd sensed the location of Duzu and the Umbra Void beast, but the master of Devil Prison had discovered him. Through the endless void, the master of Devil Prison had attacked him. The scene back then, it was still vivid in his mind. Go! Without even thinking, Lin Feng turned and charged toward the pitch-black tunnel. Even the void there began to distort. As long as he charged in, he would be able to escape. The others clearly had the same idea as Lin Feng. They all charged toward Devil Prison, wanting to charge out. However, no one was able to charge out. Numerous godly laws intertwined, sealing the exit and stopping everyone. You can't leave so easily like this. A hoarse voice rang out from within the flames. The owner of this voice should be the master of Devil Prison. Sir, are you trying to force us to stay? Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He was already prepared for battle. The master of Devil Prison said, I remember you. I've sensed your aura before. Who are you? The master of the Dragon Gate, Lin Feng. Lin Feng said. The master of Devil Prison was slightly stunned. He hadn't expected Lin Feng to have such an identity. The master of Devil Prison didn't care about anything that happened outside of Devil Prison. But when it came to Lin Feng, he had more or less heard some rumors. After all, 3 evil dragons had died at Lin Feng's hands in a row. Even if the master of Devil Prison didn't care about what happened outside, he would still have heard some rumors. Thus, when he learned of Lin Feng's identity, he was rather shocked. You're quite honest, the master of Devil Prison said. There's nothing to hide, Lin Feng said calmly. Looks like the evil dragons will have to thank me properly because I'm going to get rid of a huge problem for them. The master of Devil Prison said. With just you, an eyeball. Lin Feng mocked. The price of angering me is terrifying. The Lord of Devil Prison's voice grew cold. Whoosh! Suddenly, the pair of blood-red demonic eyes flickered with a strange luster. Lin Feng shouted, Everyone be careful! The Devil Prison's master soul attacks are extremely terrifying. Don't fall into his trap. The reason why Lin Feng knew about the Lord of Devil Prison's methods was because the Lord of Devil Prison had discovered the Umbra Void beast the last time he sensed Duzu. At that time, he had only made eye contact with that pair of evil eyes, and his head felt like it was about to split open. The pain was unbearable. The scene was still vivid in his mind, and he would never forget it. Now that he saw the Lord of Devil Prison making a move, he was instantly on guard. Although the others knew how terrifying the Lord of Devil Prison was, they didn't know much about his methods. After hearing Lin Feng's reminder, he hurriedly began to construct a soul defense system. Then, the 12 powerhouses all charged towards the Lord of Devil Prison. When darkness descends, death will also descend from the heavens. You lowly creatures are destined to become the undead of the underworld. An ancient and demonic voice rang out. Next, within the flames, the pair of blood-red demonic eyes shot out strange beams of light, one after another. Pooh, P-U, P-U. The strange beams of light pierced through the void. Then, they quickly shot towards Lin Feng and the others. Everyone's expression abruptly changed. No one had expected that the attacks from those blood-red eyes would be so terrifying. Everyone dodged. However, 3 cultivators didn't. Bang! 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 The 3 cultivators' bodies exploded, their bodies and souls destroyed. They had been instantly killed by the Lord of Devil Prison. This was truly a terrifying scene. It was truly shocking. The Lord of Devil Prison was facing off against Lin Feng and 12 other powerhouses by himself, and he was still so strong and tyrannical. No one knew what this guy's cultivation base was. You guys go break the god law set up by the Lord of Devil Prison. I'll deal with the Lord of Devil Prison, Lin Feng said in a low voice. Damn, I don't think I can win against him alone. Master, is there something wrong with your head? Du Zhu cried out. Du Zhu had always been such a troublemaker. Hence, Lin Feng was already used to it. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and break the god law sealing this place. Lin Feng cursed. Du Zhu mumbled, then hurriedly said, Brothers, follow me and break the god law sealing the exit. We have to be quick. If we can't break the god law before my master is killed, we're all dead. Hearing Du Zhu's words, Lin Feng almost fell to the ground. How could someone slander their master like that? He really wanted to slap this guy to death. Swoosh! Suddenly, another beam of light swept over. It was a beam of light shot out from that blood-red eye. It was extremely terrifying, but Lin Feng still managed to dodge it. Oh, you do have some strength, but it's far from enough. The Lord of Devil Prison's cold voice rang out. Swoosh! Swoosh! Next, blood-red chains appeared in the air and moved towards Lin Feng, trying to bind him. Lin Feng wanted to dodge those blood-red chains, but he was shocked to find that. Those chains. There was no way to dodge. Bang! One of the chains whipped Lin Feng's body, sending Lin Feng flying. Lin Feng instantly felt as if he had been hit by an ancient mountain. His blood and qi churned, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Bang! 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 Next, the rest of the chains flew over. One after another, they whipped Lin Feng's body. Crack! 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 Lin Feng had lost count of how many bones in his body were broken. How refreshing! Yours truly loves to torture and kill ants like you. This gives yours truly pleasure. The Lord of Devil Prison laughed sinisterly. Piak! Piak! Numerous thick chains continued whipping towards Lin Feng. It was just as the Lord of Devil Prison had said. He liked to torture and kill others, and not kill them directly. He liked to see the fear in the other party's eyes, as expected of someone from the netherworld. How monstrous! Lin Feng's face revealed an extremely cold expression. He activated his immortal god body. His injured body recovered instantly. Immortal god body. The Lord of Devil Prison revealed a look of surprise. Boom! Next, Lin Feng unleashed his epic aura. Right now, his epic aura was only a transparent aura. However, its power was extremely strong. Any type of aura was a heaven-defying ability. When Lin Feng's transparent aura was activated, step by step, he walked towards the Lord of Devil Prison. The chains that were whipping towards Lin Feng shattered the moment they touched Lin Feng's epic aura. Chapter 21-29. Haki has many uses such as attack, defense, shock, suppression, and so on. Lin Feng released his epic qi, and, as expected, his fighting strength was terrifying. He easily shattered the Devil Prison Master's attack. Lin Feng wanted to see what kind of creature the Devil Prison Master was. He naturally didn't believe that the Devil Prison Master only had a pair of evil eyes. This was just something the Devil Prison Master deliberately showed to confuse everyone. So you still have Haki. The Devil Prison Master's voice was cold. Shwa! That blood red, I once again shot out a terrifying light beam. This time, it was a blood-red light beam. The blood-red light beam turned into a blood-red spear. That blood-red spear pierced through the void, heading towards Lin Feng's body. Humph! Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Facing that blood-red spear attack, he didn't dodge or evade. Just like before, he walked forward step by step. The transparent Haki enveloped Lin Feng in a 100-meter radius. That blood-red spear pierced through Lin Feng's transparent haki, but it only flew for a dozen meters before shattering. "Looks like your attack has no effect on me." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he quickly rushed towards that blood-red eye. He wanted to use the transparent haki to cover that blood-red eye. Then, he attacked the blood-red eye, but that blood-red eye quickly retreated. In the raging flames, the Devil Prison Master's voice sounded again. "Transparent haki, the lowest level of haki. Although this haki is powerful, it's not impossible to break." As the Devil Prison Master's voice fell, shwa shwa shwa, countless rays of blood-red light shot out from the demonic eye. Suddenly, the world in front of Lin Feng disappeared. He appeared in a blood-red world. In this blood-red world, there were blood-red eyes everywhere. Who knew how many blood-red eyes there were? Those blood-red eyes only needed one look. It could make people fall into eternal oblivion. After seeing those blood-red eyes, Lin Feng felt waves of dizziness in his head. He shook his head hard, trying to wake himself up. But Lin Feng realized his dizziness was getting worse. This made Lin Feng's heart sink. The blood-red eyes were too strange. It could make people lose their minds. Lin Feng wanted to use Lu Ya's star chart to block this strange attack. But in Lin Feng's brain, a voice resonated in his head. "Look at those eyes. You will sink into oblivion. That is the final destination of life. Give up any resistance, return to the embrace of death," along with the strange voice's voice echoed in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng's body suddenly trembled. His will to resist became weaker, as if he wanted to give up resistance. The transparent haki released on his body also began to violently. It was as if he was going to be dismembered at any moment. The transparent haki had a strong defense. It protected Lin Feng's body from harm. But once the transparent haki dissipated, Lin Feng would definitely be attacked by the Devil Prison's master. At that time, he would be in danger. Swish! Suddenly, the densely packed blood-red eyes shot out a terrifying blood-red light beam towards Lin Feng. The transparent haki that Lin Feng released was about to shatter, after being attacked by these blood-red light beams. The haki that surrounded Lin Feng's body was about to collapse. When the haki dissipated, Lin Feng would definitely be in great trouble and might even be killed by those blood-red light beams. But at this extremely dangerous moment, Lin Feng's originally confused eyes instantly became clear. His strong willpower played a role at the critical moment. He defeated the voice that confused him. The haki around Lin Feng's body condensed again. The blood-red light beams shot out from the blood-red eyes were all scattered by the haki. And then Lin Feng stepped on the 8-directional world and quickly rushed outside. Those blood-red eyes weren't real eyes. They were condensed by the Devil Prison's master using a theurgy or some strange secret technique. Therefore, when those blood-red eyes saw Lin Feng's transparent qi, they were shocked. Those blood-red eyes directly shattered. Lin Feng rushed out of the blood-red eyes world formed by the Devil Prison's master. He instantly rushed to the flame not far away. The Devil Prison's master was hidden in this flame, only revealing a pair of demonic and terrifying blood-red eyes. Epic haki, 8-9 mysterious art. Rushing to the Devil Prison's master, Lin Feng didn't hesitate at all. He directly increased his battle strength by 4 times. Epic haki increased his battle strength by 4 times. Lin Feng's battle strength instantly rose to the peak. This was something that even the Devil Prison's master didn't expect. After his battle strength soared, Lin Feng used Stone Man watching the clouds see. This was a peerless ultimate technique, a half-immortal level theurgy, Bang! The stone man watching the cloud sea enveloped the front and collided with the flame burning in the darkness. The raging flames were almost shattered, and that blood red I was sent flying. Schwa! Light flashed. A terrifying figure was shaken out of the void. This was an existence shrouded in darkness. His appearance couldn't be seen clearly. Only his pitch-black body could be seen. That person, it was the devil prison's master. This devil prison's master was a creature from the underworld who knew what kind of monster he was. He really only had one eye. This eye appeared in between his brows, shining with a demonic light. Eerie and terrifying. It was as if there were two ancient worlds floating in that blood-red eye. Just one look, and one would feel like they were sinking into it. It made one's heart tremble. Kacha-kacha! At this moment, the sound of a god lost shattering could be heard from behind. Under the combined attacks of Du Zhu, evil dominator saint, and the others, the god law sealing the exit was finally destroyed. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A few cultivators who had nothing to do with Lin Feng hurriedly rushed into it and fled. Du Zhu, evil dominator saint, Lu Qingqing, and Gu Shanshi were still waiting for Lin Feng. Lin Feng didn't continue fighting with the devil prison's master. The devil prison's master had only revealed one eye. This meant that he had only used a portion of his cultivation. Once the devil prison's master erupted with his strongest battle strength, who knew how terrifying it would be, swoosh, Lin Feng retreated. The devil prison's master didn't give chase. He just watched as Lin Feng's group left. Interesting. A descendant with sinner's blood. After Lin Feng left, the devil prison's master let out a sinister laugh. It's a pity that a descendant with sinner's blood is dead now. He should be left to those people and give them a headache. Chapter 21:30. Swish. With a flash of light, Lin Feng and the others appeared in the sea outside. The vast sea was turbulent. The blue sea and the blue sky were clear. This was the territory 100 li away from the evil dragon island. From afar, one could still see the huge island floating in the sea. What are the two of you planning to do? Lin Feng looked at Gu Shanshi and Lu Qingqing. I want to return to my family, to take a look. Gu Shanshi said, the four seas are our home. Enter the Tao through killing. Lu Qingqing said, the few of them bid farewell. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil dominator saint flew toward the dragon sect. An hour later, swish, a huge ancient ship appeared. It was the Xianyuan ancient ship. When Xiren, Zhuge Qini, and the Sui Han three friends, who were waiting for Lin Feng outside, appeared. Sect Master, you're finally out. If you didn't come out, we would have already mobilized our troops to attack the evil dragon island. Zhuge Qini said, ha ha ha, I've made everyone worried. Fortunately, this trip went smoothly. Let's go. Lin Feng said, rumble. The Xianyuan ancient ship crushed the sky and flew toward the dragon sect. Not long after, news of the evil dragon devil prison began to spread in the sea. When the news spread out, it caused a huge uproar. The evil dragon devil prison was an extremely terrifying place. It was also a place that countless people were unwilling to mention. However, during this period, people began to talk about the evil dragon devil prison. Moreover, there was news that the one who caused trouble in the evil dragon devil prison was none other than the dragon sect master, Lin Feng. Many people knew about the grudges between the dragon sect and the evil dragon palace. However, they never expected the dragon sect master to enter the tiger's den. Later on, everyone found out. It turned out that the dragon sect master had two subordinates imprisoned in the evil dragon devil prison. Hence, the dragon sect master personally went to rescue his subordinates. This news caused a huge uproar. Seeing the dragon sect master risking himself to enter the tiger's den in order to rescue his subordinates. Many people came to join the dragon sect. Such a master, worthy of joining. Publicity and hype were the best ways to attract experts. And this time, the publicity and hype had obviously achieved a very good effect. However, at this moment, Lin Feng had a frown on his face. Many experts were sitting on chairs on both sides of the living room. When they saw Lin Feng frowning, they didn't know what had happened. "Sovereign, you've been frowning ever since you saw the seal in your hand. Could something have happened?" When Xiren asked, Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, "It's nothing. It's about my marriage." "Marriage? This is a good thing. Is the sovereign getting married? Who is he marrying?" "Ha ha. When the time comes, I must drink a few cups of wine. Not only do we have to drink a few more cups of wedding wine, we also have to play in the bridal chamber." The group of giant god realm experts all laughed. Lin Feng said, "I'm afraid that you won't be able to attend the wedding banquet for now. I'll be leaving tomorrow, and I'll have to trouble you all to take care of the various matters of the Dragon Gate. Rest assured, Sovereign, we'll definitely do our best," the various experts said. Lin Feng nodded. He waved his hand and said, "You're all dismissed. This subordinate will take his leave." Everyone stood up and left. The poison ancestor, on the other hand, remained seated calmly as he asked, "Marriage? Who does Master want to marry? There are so many women. Could it be that you want to marry all of them?" Lin Feng said, "This is a marriage that my master, Lord Tortoise, told me about." Duzu stood up and walked over to Lin Feng's side. He picked up the letter and read it. Immediately, he grinned. This was a letter that Lord Tortoise had written to Lin Feng. He wanted Lin Feng to go to the Mu clan in Tianhuang to marry the Mu clan's second daughter, Mu Xianling. In the letter, Lord Tortoise praised Mu Xianling to the skies, saying that she was unparalleled in the heavens and a peerless beauty in the mortal world. He also wrote that Lin Feng had only been able to marry Mu Xianling because he, as his master, had shamelessly asked for her hand in marriage. Then Lord Tortoise emphasized that he had done his best for Lin Feng and asked Lin Feng to be filial to him. Lin Feng took out an extremely precious ancient jade talisman. The refinement method for this kind of long-distance voice transmission jade talisman had long been lost. Thus, such voice transmission jade talismans were very rare. However, Lin Feng just so happened to have one that could communicate with Lord Tortoise's talisman. "Master, where are you? Hurry up and reply when you hear my voice," said Lin Feng angrily to the talisman. "You received the letter? Aren't you excited and happy?" Lord Tortoise's lazy voice sounded. "Master, what are you trying to do? Who is this Mu Xianling?" Lin Feng asked. "Tianhuang's Mu clan is one of the oldest clans in the 9 prefectures. They are the descendants of the ancient sage emperor. You should be happy that you're able to marry their beloved daughter." Lord Tortoise pursed his lips. "Don't try to trick me with these useless words. Master, if you don't tell me the truth, I'll pretend that you never wrote me a letter." Lin Feng said, "You little bastard who deceives your master and destroys your ancestors. Do you think it was easy for me to arrange a marriage for you? You actually dare to doubt your own master." Lord Tortoise began to scold Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng quickly interrupted Lord Tortoise and said, "Master, if you don't tell me the truth, I'll stop talking to you." Don't. Lord Tortoise hurriedly said. Then he smiled embarrassedly and said, "Actually, it's like this. Some time ago, I got together with a few old monsters. I took a fancy to a treasure on Old Monster Moo, so I made a bet with Old Monster Moo to win the treasure. Who knew that I would lose the bet?" Lin Feng was speechless, and then asked Lin Feng, "Old Monster Moo also wanted a treasure on me. You know that I'm poor, and I don't have many powerful treasures on me. How could I give it to old Monster Moo? So, I told him that I've recently accepted a disciple who has a good character and looks. He can marry into the Moo family and become their son-in-law. Old Monster Moo was overjoyed when he heard this, and he happily agreed. Lord Tortoise said, "Damn, you're saying that you're selling your own disciple and that you're marrying into the Moo family?" Lin Feng shouted angrily, "Don't be angry. The Moo family is an ancient sacred emperor family that even the 10 great immortal sects don't dare to provoke. They're high and mighty. Being able to marry into the Moo family is a blessing that you've cultivated in your previous life." Lord Tortoise said with a smile. Lin Feng was just about to continue complaining and reject Lord Tortoise's suggestion to cheat his disciple. However, at that moment, the communication jade talisman in his hand emitted cracking sounds. Then it cracked. This kind of communication jade talisman couldn't be used for long periods of time. It would be destroyed after one use. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel depressed when he saw that the communication jade talisman had been destroyed. He hadn't even finished what he wanted to say. Duzu grinned and said, "Congratulations, Master. You're about to marry into the Moo family. Sometimes living off a woman is also a skill." Scram! Lin Feng kicked Duzu and sent him flying. Chapter 2131. The divine realm of Tianhuang was one of the 9 great prefectures in the 9 prefectures. It was also the most mysterious, the largest, and the most ancient prefecture. In this prefecture, there were descendants of the ancient saint emperors, ancient religions, and even some ancient Taoist temples and temples. Therefore, the divine realm of Tianhuang was shrouded in a layer of mystery. The divine realm of Tianhuang was located in the west of the Dragonfire Prefecture. It was very far from the ancient, desolate sea domain. Lin Feng took the space-time wormhole and spent a year to reach the divine realm of Tianhuang. From this, one could tell how long it had been. He, Duzu, and the heretic holiness sage walked out of a teleportation array in Beixian City. Marry into the family, marry a wife, and give birth to a chubby little boy, Duzu grinned from the side. Lin Feng had the urge to slap this guy to death. He even dared to tease his own master. Should he consider hanging him up and whipping him for 3 days and 3 nights? Let's see if this guy will become obedient. Fairy Miao Qing has appeared in the heavenly immortal pavilion. Let's go and take a look. What? Fairy Miao Qing is here? Let's go and take a look at this peerless beauty on the list of beauties. At this moment, the voices of many cultivators could be heard from afar. Then many people rushed in a certain direction. Fairy Miao Qing? Lin Feng could not help but raise his eyebrows. He had some impression of this girl. He had seen her in Snow Eagle City. If he remembered correctly, Fairy Miao Qing was Duga Ditian's fiancée. Duga Ditian was extremely arrogant. He had once chased young Master Ming Yu all the way to the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. This was a serious provocation to the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. However, Duga Ditian's cultivation level was too high. As one of the 3 supreme saints of the Taishang Immortal Sect, Duga Ditian was an extremely terrifying existence. Later on, Lin Feng, young Master Mingyu, young Master Hans Han, Lei Gan, and the others went to the Battle's Sacred Ape secret realm together. They clashed with the experts of the Taishang Immortal Sect, led by Duga Ditian again. The battle was very intense, and many people from the Taishang Immortal Sect died. The enmity between the 2 sides could be said to be growing deeper and deeper. Lin Feng had fought with Duga Ditian before, but at that time, Lin Feng was still not Duga Ditian's match. Now, a few years had passed. If he met Duga Ditian again, Lin Feng believed that he could definitely kill this person. Let's go and see Fairy Miao Qing. Lin Feng said with a smile. Master, please reconsider. You're here to marry into the Mu clan. If the Mu clan knows that you've been fooling around outside, the Mu clan will be angry. Du Zhu grinned. The Mu family? Which Mu clan? Could it be the Mu clan from the ancient sacred emperor clan? Many people around them looked over in surprise when they heard Du Zhu's words. Du Zhu said, It's the Mu clan. Do you see our young master? He's a talented man, a dragon among men. He's about to marry the second daughter of the Mu clan, Mu Xianling. Brag. Brag with all your might. Many people curled their lips in disbelief. Du Zhu shouted, I'm telling the truth. Mu Xianling is about to become our young master's wife. Even though our young master is only marrying into the Mu clan, we won't believe it even if he marries into the Mu clan. Many people shook their heads. Why? Du Zhu asked. Mu Xianling is one of the 5 goddesses of the divine realm of infinite wasteland. Her cultivation has suppressed the experts of the older generation to the point that they can't breathe. She once said that her future father must have the bearing of an emperor and the bearing of a ruler. This woman has high standards. Not just anyone can marry her. Someone said. Du Zhu wanted to say something else, but Lin Feng hurriedly left with the heretic sovereign sage. Du Zhu, that bastard. You're embarrassing me. Will you die if you don't say that I'm marrying into the Mu clan? Besides, this time, Lin Feng hadn't come to marry into the clan. In Lin Feng's opinion, this marriage was just a farce. The Heaven Immortal Pavilion was bustling with people. Fairy Miao Qing and Mu Xianling were both part of the 5 goddesses of the divine realm of Tianhuang region. No matter where they went, they would attract countless people to watch. Fairy Miao Qing was playing the zither on the 2nd floor. Those who could go to the 2nd floor had to have an extraordinary status. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage found a place to sit down on the 1st floor and ordered some spirit tea and snacks. They listened to the zither as they tasted the tea. Fairy Miao Qing's zither music was melodious. Many people were immersed in it and couldn't extricate themselves. When the zither music ended, many people still wanted to continue. Fairy's zither music is so beautiful. I'm afraid it's hard to find a zither master who can compete with Fairy in this world. A young master said. Someone recognized the young master's identity. His name was Duanmu Fengshen. He was ranked 6th on the prodigy roll. His cultivation was unfathomable. His background was also extraordinary. He came from the Duanmu family of the divine realm of Tianhuang region. The Duanmu family was also a famous force in the divine realm of Tianhuang region. Like the Mu family, they were part of the ancient divine emperors. Young Master Duanmu, you flatter me. Miao Qing doesn't deserve such praise. Fairy Miao Qing said modestly. Duanmu Fengshen was very handsome. When he smiled, he looked even more handsome. He asked with a smile, I heard that Fairy has been traveling outside. When did you return to the divine realm of Tianhuang region? I've been back for some time. I received an invitation and rushed here. Fairy Miao Qing said. It seems that Fairy has also received an invitation. Duanmu Fengshen smiled. Many people were confused. They didn't know what Fairy Miao Qing and Duanmu Fengshen were talking about. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage left. They planned to find an inn to rest for 2 days before heading to the Mu family. In the next few days, a piece of news quickly spread throughout Beixian City. Mu Xianling was engaged to a mysterious man. The 2 of them were about to get married. This piece of news caused a huge commotion. One had to know that Mu Xianling's standards were extremely high. She didn't think highly of many disciples of ancient divine emperor families and immortal sections. But now she was about to get married to someone. This piece of news was too sudden. It caused countless people to discuss it. Clearly, someone purposely released this piece of news. When Lin Feng heard this, he couldn't help but frown. He had originally hoped to resolve this matter quietly, but the news had still spread. At noon, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage left the inn to find a place to have lunch. In the distance, 9 flaming divine birds were pulling a divine chariot. Flaming divine birds pulling the chariot. Mu Xianling is here. Someone said. Mu Xianling's arrival caused a huge commotion, because in the past few days, everyone in the ancient city had been talking about Mu Xianling. Now that Mu Xianling had appeared, everyone was naturally curious. Were the rumors true? Was Mu Xianling really getting married? Chapter 2132. The 9 divine birds surrounded by flames stopped in midair. Next, a woman stepped out. This woman was wearing a purple dress and had a tall and moving figure. Her palm-sized face was exquisite and beautiful. Master, your wife is really good-looking. Master is blessed, Du Zhu said with a grin. Lin Feng said indifferently, What wife? It's just a farce. I'm here to cancel this engagement, not to marry into your family. What a pity! What a pity! Master, you must think twice before you act. Du Zhu called out. Lin Feng said, If you talk any more, I'll seal your mouth. The evil sovereign saint laughed and said, If that's the case, the world will be peaceful. Big Zombie, what are you talking about? Do you believe that I won't beat you up? Du Zhu rolled his eyes and glanced at the evil sovereign saint. The evil sovereign saint raised his fist and said, You can try. Thinking of the evil sovereign saint's abnormal physical body, Du Zhu immediately shrank his neck in fear. Mu Xianling landed, and many people greeted her. This woman was extremely arrogant and didn't even look at the people who greeted her. Cold like a fairy from the Moon Palace. How wonderful, many people said, praising Mu Xianling's character and beauty. Damn, to think that you can still shamelessly praise that woman after being ignored. I can't accept the heavens or the earth. I only admire the shamelessness of these people. Du Zhu shouted. After Mu Xianling left, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil sovereign saint also left and came to the Heaven Immortal Pavilion. This Heaven Immortal Pavilion was a very famous restaurant. It was different from ordinary restaurants. Even the servants who served tea and water in the Heaven Immortal Pavilion were beautiful women. Moreover, there were also many beautiful women performing for the diners here. They played the flute, played the zither, sang. There were all kinds of performances. Furthermore, there was a zither platform on the stage on the 2nd floor. On the zither platform, there was a zither. If anyone was itching to play, they could sit in front of the zither and play a song. Previously, Fairy Miao Qing had sat in front of that zither and played a song. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil sovereign saint had reserved a seat on the 3rd floor. They could see the performance on the 2nd floor. A beautiful woman was playing the zither. Another beautiful woman was playing a flute. There were also more than 10 beautiful women dancing. Lin Feng and the 2 others ordered a table full of good food and wine and started eating. Not long after, there was a commotion. Lin Feng looked down and saw 7 or 8 young cultivators. There were men and women. He saw Fairy Miao Qing. He also saw Mu Xianling. These people were around the same age, from the same region, and had similar reputations. They naturally knew each other. Now, they had come together. These people also reserved a table on the 3rd floor. After ordering the food and drinks, they watched the performance on the 2nd floor. Fairy Miao Qing said with a smile, Little sister Xianling is also proficient in the zither. Are you interested in playing a song? Hearing Fairy Miao Qing's words, the eyes of the others lit up. Duanmu Fengshen said with a smile, "If little sister Xianling plays the zither, it will definitely become a good story." Mu Xianling said, "I'm not in the mood." Why? Could it be that little sister Xianling is missing your future husband? Little sister Xianling, you haven't told us how you met that Mr. Right. Fairy Miao Qing said with a smile, "A man that little sister Xianling is willing to entrust her life to is definitely not an ordinary person, right?" Another blue-clothed young master said. Mu Xianling's face was cold as she said, "I don't know this person. I don't even know where he came from or what his name is." How is that possible? If little sister Xianling doesn't know this person, why did you agree to be engaged to him? Duanmu Fengshen asked in confusion. It's the marriage arranged by the clan. Mu Xianling's face turned even colder. Mu Xianling was furious that her clan had arranged this marriage. She had been waiting for that person to appear. However, that person never appeared. It's very normal for large clans to form an alliance through marriage. A blue-clothed young master said indifferently, "Aren't I the same? I got married early and didn't even get to meet her before the marriage." "I'm different from you," Mu Xianling said indifferently. The blue-clothed young master said, "Of course we're different. I'm a man and you're a woman. You with the surname Sun, I'm not interested in listening to your nonsense. Don't force me to throw you out." Mu Xianling said coldly, not showing any courtesy to the blue-clothed young master. The blue-clothed young master's face turned slightly unsightly. Fairy Miao Qing said, "Xianling, Brother Sun is just joking. You don't have to take it seriously." Duanmu Fengshen advised the blue-clothed young master, "Brother Sun, little sister Xianling has such a temper. Don't take it to heart." The two of them nodded and didn't say anything else. At this moment, Fairy Miao Qing continued, "Little sister Xianling, if you're really not interested in that fiancé, with your status in the clan and your father's power, it's not a big problem to cancel this marriage. Some time ago, Di Tian sent me a message and asked me to ask you something." "What is it?" Mu Xianling asked. "I'm sure you know Di Tian's senior brother, Wu Qiankuan. Wu Qiankuan is a dragon among men. He's young, but his cultivation is unfathomable. In the Supreme Immortal Sect, he's one of the 3 Supreme Saints. He wants to meet little sister Xianling. I wonder if little sister Xianling will agree." Fairy Miao Qing said, "His fists can shake mountains and rivers. His martial arts can move the universe. Wu Qiankuan is indeed terrifying. Among the younger generation, perhaps no one dares to say that they can win against him." Duanmu Fengshen said, speaking of Wu Qiankuan, there was a solemn expression between his eyebrows. Mu Xianling said, "When I went out to train in the past, I went out with Wu Qiankuan. That's why I know him. However, we don't have much interaction, and we haven't seen each other for many years. There's no way we can be friends." Fairy Miao Qing said, "I think little sister Xianling knows what I mean." Duanmu Fengshen smiled and said, "Wu Qiankuan should be more reliable than your fiancé. He might be someone you can entrust your life to. Little sister, what do you think? Are you willing to meet Wu Qiankuan?" Fairy Miao Qing asked. Mu Xianling pondered for a moment before she said, "Let me think about it before I tell you." "All right, I'll wait for your reply." Fairy Miao Qing smiled. She understood Mu Xianling's character. Since Mu Xianling didn't reject Duanmu Fengshen, it meant that there was hope. Lin Feng also noticed the group of people, but he didn't pay much attention to them. As for Mu Xianling, he didn't pay much attention to her either. He had come to cancel the engagement, so he wouldn't have much interaction with Mu Xianling. After the meal, he left with Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage. That person, Fairy Miao Qing looked at Lin Feng's back with a puzzled expression. Chapter 2133. What? You know that person? Duan Mufeng Shun looked at Lin Feng's back. Lin Feng looked like a stranger. He had never seen such a person before. I don't know him. I just feel that he's not simple, Fairy Miao Qing said. There are always hidden experts in this world, Duanmu Fengshen said. They stayed in Beixian City for 3 days. Then, the three of them left Beixian City and headed to the Mu clan. The Mu clan was located in the sacred Wood Mountain Range. It was a huge force that could make the earth tremble with a stomp of its feet. The Mu clan structure was complicated. The main branch was divided into 5 branches. The head of the clan was the head of the first branch. The leaders of the other 4 main branches were appointed as great elders. Mu Xianling was the great-great-granddaughter of the head of the first branch. Because of her amazing talent, she was the apple of everyone's eye since young. Other than the 5 main branches, the Mu clan had 36 side branches. Some of them had the surname Mu. Some of them were in-laws or relatives of the Mu clan. Apart from the 36 side branches, there was also the Sacred Wood Palace. The Sacred Wood Palace recruited geniuses from all over the world. Many talented geniuses had come out of the Sacred Wood Palace. Some outstanding geniuses were even recruited by the Mu clan as son-in-laws. Of course, it wasn't easy to marry a young lady from one of the 5 main branches. Only monstrous geniuses were qualified to do so. Therefore, the women that those geniuses married were all pretty girls from the side branches. The Sacred Wood City was located outside the Sacred Wood Mountain Range. It was bustling with people. Many people came here because of the Sacred Wood Palace's reputation and wanted to learn from a master. However, it wasn't easy to join the Sacred Wood Palace. One had to go through a strict selection process. Most of the people living in the Sacred Wood City were from the side branches of the Mu clan or their distant relatives. They didn't have the qualifications to live in the Mu clan's territory. Therefore, they lived in the Sacred Wood City. Of course, if one of the side branches or distant relatives had a genius disciple, their treatment and status would be different. The first thing that came into view after entering the Sacred Wood City was a huge plaza. There was an ancient statue erected in the plaza. The statue was dedicated to the first ancestor of the Mu clan, Mu Yuanji. It was said that he was an ancient saint emperor. Many people were kneeling in front of the statue, kowtowing and praying. Lin Feng and the other 2 first found an inn to stay in. Then, Lin Feng wrote a visiting card. He asked the evil sovereign saint to bring the invitation to the Mu clan. Even though they were here to break off the engagement, they still had to show proper etiquette. The evil dominator saint took Lin Feng's invitation and went to the Mu clan to see Mu Xianling's father, Mu Shenhai. This man looked to be in his 40s and was very handsome. Now, he was looking at Lin Feng's invitation card. The content of the invitation was simple. Lin Feng introduced himself as a disciple of the reincarnation celestial sect. His name was Lin Feng, and he was here to discuss his marriage with Mu Xianling. He would be here in 3 days. Lin Feng didn't mention that he was here to cancel the engagement. This matter involved the face of the Mu clan. If they wanted to break off the engagement, they had to sit down and have a good discussion. If they wanted to forcefully cancel the engagement, at that time, he would definitely fight to the death with the Mu clan, a colossus. This wasn't what Lin Feng wanted to see. All right, I already know why you're here. Go back and tell your young master that the Mu clan will welcome you with open arms when the time comes. Mu Shenhai said, All right, I'll take my leave then. The evil dominator saint cupped his fists and left. After sending the evil dominator Saint off, Mu Shunhai brought the invitation card to the Mu clan leader. Mu Shunhai's father had passed away when he was young. Therefore, he was brought up by his grandfather. His grandfather was the current Mu clan leader, Mu Tianjiang. Grandfather, that person is here. His identity has been confirmed. He's Lin Feng, a disciple of the reincarnation celestial sect. Mu Shunhai handed the invitation card to Mu Tianjiang. Mu Tianjiang was tall and sturdy. He didn't look old. In fact, he was only 2 million years old. His lifespan was still very long. Lin Feng? Who's that? Mu Tianjiang frowned slightly. Mu Shunhai said, I just asked someone to investigate him. He seems to be Lord Tortoise's disciple. Lord Tortoise, the corners of Mu Tianjiang's mouth twitched violently. He couldn't help but rub his forehead. He felt a headache coming on. Why did the old ancestor betroth Xianling to Lord Tortoise's disciple? With Lord Tortoise's personality, how can he teach a good disciple? If the upper beam isn't straight, the lower beam will be crooked. Mu Shunhai said with a wry smile. According to the investigation, this guy has a bad reputation in the reincarnation immortal sect. It is said that he offended a few fairies of the reincarnation immortal sect and almost became the public enemy of the reincarnation immortal sect. It's normal for him to be Lord Tortoise's disciple. I don't think there's anything strange about it. Mu Tianjiang said. Mu Shunhai said, but I have another piece of information here. What is it? Mu Tianjiang asked. Didn't the Dragon Gate appear in the sea some time ago? It has a grudge with the evil Dragon Palace. The leader of the Dragon Gate is Lin Feng. However, I'm guessing that he's just a cover. The reincarnation celestial sect might be behind the Dragon Gate. Mu Tianjiang nodded. Mu Tianjiang nodded. He didn't really care about this matter. After all, the Mu clan had established its own power in the sea. For example, the Mu clan had established the Wood Celestial Island in the southern Celestial Sea. The leader of the Wood Celestial Island, Mu Xianhai, was none other than Mu Shunhai's eldest son. When the Wood Celestial Island was first established, it had encountered many difficulties from the southern Celestial Sea. However, with the support of the Mu clan, the Wood Celestial Island eventually gained a foothold and expanded. It became an important gathering place for the Mu clan to gather resources from the sea. In Mu Shunhai and Mu Tianjiang's opinion, the Dragon Gate and the Wood Celestial Island were the same. They naturally didn't care about Lin Feng, the so-called leader of the Dragon Gate. Grandfather, what do you plan to do? Agree to the marriage? Or reject it? Mu Shunhai asked. He actually didn't agree to the marriage. He felt that marrying his daughter to Lin Feng was too unfair for Mu Xianling. However, this was an order from the Mu clan's ancestor. As a junior, he didn't dare to object. When young people get together, the most important thing is to have a good relationship. Mu Tianjiang said, we can let Xianling interact with this young man first. If they have a good relationship, it won't be a problem. If they don't have a good relationship, I can talk to the ancestor about it. Mu Shunhai's eyes lit up, and he said, yes, grandfather. I know what to do. Chapter 21:34. Lin Feng looked at the evil dominator saint who had just returned and asked, what did he say? He said that he'll welcome you in 3 days. The evil dominator saint replied, the poison ancestor sat on a stool with a sloppy appearance. He cracked some melon seeds and said, I don't think this matter is so simple. A dignified ancient Saint Emperor clan is marrying off their daughter, but when the son-in-law came, no one came to greet him. They only said that they would sweep the bed and welcome him in 3 days. What does this mean? It goes without saying. Duzu's words made sense. Lin Feng said, My master seems to be on good terms with the Mu clan's current ancestor. As long as the Mu clan's matter is resolved satisfactorily, it doesn't matter if they treat me coldly. I won't have much interaction with the Mu clan in the future, so I don't care about their attitude. TSK, TSK, what a pity that you don't want such a beautiful girl. Duzu cried out loudly. The next day, while they were eating in the restaurant, a group of people came from afar. The leader of the group was a young man in white. He was quite handsome. After they arrived, they went to the second floor of the restaurant and went straight to Lin Feng's table. Kid, come over here. Young Master Xian Gu has something to say to you, a young cultivator said. The young man in white was obviously the young Master Xian Gu that he was talking about. He stood in the distance and looked at Lin Feng indifferently. Lin Feng felt extremely strange. He didn't know this so-called young Master Xian Gu, so he didn't understand why he was looking at him with such a cold expression. He couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. Grandson, what are you shouting about? Can't you see that Grandpa is eating here? What nonsense is this young Master Xian Gu? If you want to see my young master, come over here yourself. Duzu, who loved to see the world in chaos, shouted loudly. Lin Feng poured himself a cup of wine and didn't pay attention to this group of people. Many diners recognized the identity of this group of people. When they saw the so-called young Master Xian Gu, many of their expressions changed slightly. This young Master Xian Gu was called Mu Xian Gu, the son of Mu Shenhai. This man was not someone that anyone could afford to offend. Provoking Mu Xiang'e in Wood Sacred City was simply courting death. Those fellows must have just arrived at Mu Shengchang, right? Could it be that he was here to learn martial arts? I wonder who Mu Xiang'e is. Many people muttered in their hearts, looking at Lin Feng and the other two with pitiful expressions. Teach this guy a lesson. Mu Xiang'e's expression darkened as she said coldly. Immediately, more than a dozen people pounced on Duzu. Ever since Duzu obtained a fortuitous encounter in the evil Dragon Devil prison, his cultivation had improved greatly. It would only be a matter of time before he regained his half-martial emperor cultivation. Naturally, these people were nothing in Duzu's eyes. Duzu stood up and waved his right hand. More than a dozen cultivators pouncing on Duzu were swept away by Duzu. Bang, bang, bang. These people fell to the ground one by one. Screaming in pain, Duzu strode toward Mu Xiang'e. What are you doing? This is Wood Sacred City, the territory of my Mu clan. I am the great-great-grandson of the Mu clan's patriarch. Do you dare to touch me? I won't let you off so easily. Mu Xiang'e immediately threatened loudly. Bang! Duzu didn't say anything and sent Mu Xiang'e flying with a punch. Grandson, what are you shouting for? Are you looking for a beating? The poison ancestor said viciously as he stomped on Mu Xiang'e. Mu Xiang'e was the young master of the Mu clan. When had he ever been humiliated like this? His eyes turned bloodshot. You are dead. All of you are dead. Mu Xiang'e roared furiously. We are dead. You are in my hands, and you still dare to threaten me? You have guts. Duzu revealed a devilish smile as he grabbed Mu Xiang'e by the collar and lifted him up. Slap, 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 slap after slap landed on Mu Xiang'e's face. Mu Xiang'e was stunned by the slap. The surrounding diners were also stunned. Who was this? He even dared to slap Mu Xiang'e. Wasn't he too gutsy? I want your lives. Mu Xiang'e roared. The poison ancestor slapped him again and again. Mu Xiang'e's anger soared. However, he couldn't break free. After dozens of slaps, Mu Xiang'e's originally handsome face was swollen by Duzu's slaps. He begged, spare me, stop hitting me, brother-in-law. I am Mu Xianling's younger brother. I am your brother-in-law. Don't let him hit me. Brother-in-law, Mu Xiang'a called that young man brother-in-law. Swish, countless gazes turned to Lin Feng, who was eating. Everyone had a shocked expression on their faces. They had heard that Mu Xianling was about to get married. However, they didn't expect that the man who was engaged to Mu Xianling was here. Everyone was extremely curious about Lin Feng's identity. What kind of person was qualified to marry Mu Xianling? Lin Feng picked up a handkerchief beside him and wiped his mouth. Then he looked at Du Zhu and said, "All right, stop hitting him. Bring him here." "Yes, young master." Du Zhu carried Mu Xiang'a to Lin Feng's side as if he was carrying a chicken. "Kneel on the ground and talk. If you dare to stand up, I will slap you again," Du Zhu said fiercely. Mu Xiang'a was so frightened that his whole body trembled. He didn't dare to stand up. Instead, he knelt in front of Lin Feng and said, "Brother-in-law, I didn't mean to offend you. Please spare me. For my sister's sake, please give me another chance." "You're Mu Xianling's younger brother?" Lin Feng asked. Yes, yes, yes. I'm her real brother," Mu Xiang'a said with a crying face. "Stand up and talk," Lin Feng said. Mu Xiang'a quickly got up and rubbed his face with both hands. When he looked at Lin Feng, there was a trace of fear in his eyes. "Why are you looking for me today?" Lin Feng asked. Mu Xiang'a had originally come to warn Lin Feng. He wanted Lin Feng to stay away from his sister. However, he didn't dare to say such words now. Mu Xiang'a rolled his eyes and said, "I heard that brother-in-law is here, so I came to pay my respects to you." Naturally, Lin Feng didn't believe this nonsense. He said, "You don't have to call me brother-in-law. The matter between your sister and I will be resolved soon. So you don't have to worry about anything. Go back and tell your sister not to worry. All right, you can leave now." "Then I'll take my leave." Mu Xiang'a bowed and hurriedly left. His group of followers also hurriedly got up from the ground and left together. After leaving the restaurant, Mu Xiang'a said fiercely, "Bastards, how dare they beat me up like this? When have I ever suffered such a loss? Come, follow me back to the clan. I want to invite a few experts to teach them a lesson." Chapter 2135. Young Master Xienge, this won't do. If your father or the patriarch finds out about this, I'm afraid they will punish you. This marriage was decided by the old ancestor. Someone said, "Originally, I wanted to give that brat a show of strength so that he would back off. However, I didn't expect that I would be the one to be beaten up. This is a great humiliation. It's really a great humiliation. Do you want me to swallow this resentment? This young master has never suffered such a huge loss before." Mu Xiange said in exasperation, "Young Master Xienge, no matter what, that Lin Feng is your brother-in-law. I don't think it's appropriate for you to do it. You should let Miss Xianling do it. Miss Xianling has always been against this marriage. When she appears, this marriage might be canceled. When those people leave, you can go to the Wood Sacred Hall and ask for some experts to stop them on the way and give them a good beating. As long as the people in the Wood Sacred Hall are taken care of, they won't leak any information. Young Master Xian Gu won't have to worry about your father or the patriarch finding out about this." Another disciple from the Mu clan said, "Haha, you're smart. I'll bear with it for a few days. See how I deal with that brat then." Mu Xiange said viciously. Mu Xiange was just a small interlude. Lin Feng naturally didn't take it to heart. 3 days later, Lin Feng prepared some gifts and headed to the Mu clan with Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage. On the Mu clan's side, Mu Shenhai and the other 4 great elders received him. Lin Feng didn't see Mu Tianjiang. "Nephew, have you rested well these few days?" Mu Shenhai asked with a fake smile. Lin Feng smiled indifferently and said, Thank you for your concern. Uncle, I've had a good rest. I came here because of your daughter's wedding. Mu Shenhai asked calmly, Nephew, when do you plan on marrying into my Mu clan? Lin Feng smiled and said, I have no intention of marrying into the Mu clan. Mu Shenhai frowned and said, unhappily, Nephew, are you thinking of marrying Xianling to you? Mu Shenhai's words were filled with dissatisfaction and contempt for Lin Feng. Lin Feng said casually, I don't plan on marrying her either. Then what do you mean? Mu Shenhai asked in a deep voice. Lin Feng said, I have never met your daughter, so I don't have any feelings for her. This marriage is a bet between my master and the Mu clan's ancestor. I didn't know about it before, but after I heard about it, I decided to make a trip down personally to talk about canceling the marriage. Preposterous. The faces of the Mu clan's face. Naturally, the engagement could be annulled. But even if the marriage, the Mu clan, Lin Feng shouldn't be the one to talk about breaking off the engagement. Nephew, was it your idea to say those words, or was it Lord Tortoise's idea? Mu Shenhai asked in a deep voice. Lin Feng said, It's my own idea. I can handle everything on my own, so there's no need to drag my master into this. After all, my master handled this matter inappropriately, so I won't mistreat the Mu clan. How about this? I'll give the Mu clan 1 trillion origin crystals, and we'll call off the marriage. 1 trillion. Mu Shenhai and the others looked at each other, even the Mu clan. Over the years, they had only accumulated 4 to 5 trillion origin crystals. Lin Feng casually gave away 1 trillion origin crystals. Mu Shenhai and the others were tempted. There's nothing that can't be discussed in this world. The first elder of the second main branch said with a smile. He looked at Mu Shenhai and said, Shenhai, you're Xianling's father. You should say a few words about the marriage of a child. Mu Shenhai smiled awkwardly and said, Actually, Xianling is very against this marriage. Since you don't agree with it, we can cancel the marriage for everyone's sake. But now the news is spreading like wildfire. Everyone knows about this marriage. If we cancel the marriage, what should we say? If you bring it up, where will the Mu clan's face go? Mu Shenhai was a sly old fox. They wanted to obtain 1 trillion origin crystals. But he didn't want to embarrass the Mu clan. Lin Feng said, That's easy. Just say that someone is spreading rumors and that the marriage is fake. But will the others believe it? Mu Shenhai frowned and said, Lin Feng said, They have to believe it even if they don't. Who dares to say no in front of the Mu clan? Are they tired of living? That's right. It's a rumor. The matter of the engagement is simply a false rumor. Mu Shenhai and the others laughed. Lin Feng laughed as well. This matter was finally resolved satisfactorily. Suddenly, a voice came from outside. I don't agree. Then an old man walked in. Grandfather, clan leader, Mu Shenhai and the others stood up and bowed to the old man who walked in. Lin Feng stood up as well. This was the Mu clan's clan leader, Mu Tianjiang. Lin Feng bowed to Mu Tianjiang. Mu Tianjiang smiled and said, Little friend, there's no need to be so polite. Let's sit down and talk about this. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and sat down. Mu Tianjiang said, Little friend, the marriage between you and Xianling was agreed upon by your master and the Mu clan's ancestor. If you want to cancel the marriage, you have to wait until the Mu clan's ancestor returns. Little friend, you have to tell the Mu clan's ancestor personally. If the ancestor agrees, we won't have any problems. If he doesn't agree, we have no right to make a decision. Lin Feng frowned slightly. This matter involved the Mu clan's ancestor, and it was troublesome. He was someone who had a good relationship with Lord Turtle. He was definitely a super old antique. When the time came to face such an old antique, who knew what would happen? But since Mu Tianjiang had already said so, Yi Zichen didn't hesitate. Lin Feng knew that his plan to cancel the marriage was going to fail. Lin Feng stood up and said, "All right, then this junior will wait for a few more days. When the Mu clan's ancestor returns, this junior will personally explain this matter to him." Mu Tianjiang smiled and said, "Little friend, you're a reasonable person. Since you've come to the Mu clan, you can stay here. This old man will get someone to prepare a villa for you." Lin Feng said, "Thank you for your kindness, senior. We already have a place to stay outside, so there's no need for you to worry. This junior will take his leave." "Shanhai, send little friend Lin out," Mu Tianjiang said. Yes, Mu Shanhai sent Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil dominator Saint out before returning to the living room. He said, "Grandfather, why did you reject Lin Feng? That's 1,000,000,000,000 origin crystals." Chapter 2136. I have contacted the old ancestor before. This is an order personally given by the old ancestor, not to mention 1,000,000,000,000 origin crystals. If the old ancestor doesn't agree, even if it's 1,000,000,000,000 origin crystals, he won't agree to cancel the engagement. Mu Tianjiang said, "Why does the old ancestor insist on marrying Xian Ling to Lin Feng? It's really puzzling." Mu Shanhai said with a frown, "I have also asked the old ancestor about this, but he didn't say it clearly. However, since the old ancestor has done this, he must have his reasons. Let's wait for the old ancestor to come back." Mu Tianjiang said, "Yes." Mu Shanhai and the others responded. Lin Feng and the other two left the Mu clan and returned to their residence. After returning, Lin Feng frowned. He felt that the cancellation of the engagement was going to be a big problem. Mu Shanhai and the others obviously had different opinions from Mu Tianjiang. Logically speaking, even Mu Tianjiang shouldn't refuse 1,000,000,000 origin crystals. Mu Tianjiang's action was a little strange. Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. Du Zhu said, "If the young master really wants to cancel the engagement, I think we have to find the young master's master to solve this matter. Otherwise, it'll be difficult." After a pause, Du Zhu lowered his voice and said, "Even 1,000,000,000,000 origin crystals can't satisfy those guys. They're really greedy. I think they want to take all of the young master's property." Evil Dominator Saint said, "Master's master and the Mu clan's old ancestor are old friends. Do you think the Mu clan will blatantly take the master's property? I think the main problem in this matter is the Mu clan's old ancestor. I guess when the young master's master sold the young master to the Mu clan's old ancestor, he must have said something special. Otherwise, the Mu clan's old ancestor wouldn't have stuck to the young master like this." Lin Feng said with a wry smile, "My cheap master made a bet with the ancestor of the Mu family. It's definitely not as simple as losing a magic weapon. I've often been cheated by this old guy, but this time it seems to be a huge trap. However, it's unrealistic for a cheap master like me to help me solve this problem. I'll talk to the Mu clan's old ancestor about this matter when I see him." Du Zhu grinned and said, "This matter can't be rushed. Young master, let's go have some fun tonight." Lin Feng rubbed his head and said, "My head hurts. If you want to have fun, you can go by yourself." "Ha, the more troublesome something is, the more you should relax," Du Zhu said. Lin Feng replied, "All right, let's go and relax then." "Big Zombie, are you going or not?" Du Zhu asked. "I'll go wherever master goes," the heretic sovereign saint said. Du Zhu cursed. "Shameless thing, you clearly want to have fun too, but you insist on pushing the reason to the young master. As expected of an old zombie that evolved over millions of years. Your skin is as thick as a city wall. What are you talking about? Are you looking for a beating? Do you think I won't cut you? The heretic sovereign saint said, angrily. Duzu curled his lips. Who are you trying to scare? Do you think I won't poison you to death? You think I'm afraid of your poison? The heretic sovereign saint said disdainfully. If you're not afraid, we can try. Duzu sneered. When he saw the two of them arguing again, Lin Feng said, arguing is so boring. If you're so capable, let's fight outside. Duzu and the heretic sovereign saint immediately shut their mouths. These two fellows only knew how to talk. Duzu said with a smile, how can we be violent in front of the young master? Let's go have fun now. If we're late, all the top-grade goods will be taken away. Lin Feng nodded. Then he left with Duzu and the heretic sovereign saint. When he returned in the middle of the night, Lin Feng lay on his bed and fell asleep. Lin Feng, get out here. Suddenly, a cold voice came from outside. Who is it? Why are you looking for me so early in the morning? Lin Feng muttered and sat up on his bed. However, as soon as he sat up, rumble, the house shook violently. The next moment, the entire courtyard collapsed. Lin Feng, Duzu, and the heretic sovereign saint rushed out of the ruins in a sorry state. Then they saw a woman standing in midair, looking coldly at them. You're that Lin Feng? Said Mu Xianling, looking at Lin Feng in an ice-cold way. She looked extremely arrogant, like a proud peacock. Lin Feng nodded. That's right. Why are you here so early in the morning instead of sleeping? You even destroyed the house I was sleeping in. Is there something wrong with your head? What did you say? Say it again. Mu Xianling glared fiercely at Lin Feng. When she returned to her clan and heard that Lin Feng wanted to break off the engagement, she wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into pieces. She was one of the 5 goddesses of Tianhuang region. She hadn't taken the initiative to break off the engagement. Yet this guy had taken the initiative to break off the engagement. Mu Xianling already hated Lin Feng to the core. Now that she heard Lin Feng's mockery, she couldn't help but charge at Lin Feng, wanting to fight him. Swish Duzu and the heretic sovereign saint stopped Mu Xianling. I'm not interested in fighting you, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. Go back and wait for my news. Lin Feng said. Lin Feng, you're a coward. Fight me if you dare. Mu Xianling said coldly. Not interested. Lin Feng said indifferently. If you don't dare, then you don't dare. Don't say you're not interested. Mu Xianling mocked. Think what you want. Lin Feng said indifferently. He didn't have a good impression of Mu Xianling. This woman was too full of herself. I'll only ask you one thing. What right do you have to break off the engagement? What right do you have to break off the engagement? You're just an ordinary core disciple in the reincarnation celestial sect. You haven't even been crowned a saint. Oh, right. I heard that you created a dragon sect in the ancient desolate sea region, and you're the leader of the dragon sect. Is that something you should be proud of? What a joke. Everyone knows that you're just a puppet that the reincarnation celestial sect pushed to the surface. Do you really think you're someone important? If your master didn't trick the old ancestor of the Mu clan, do you think you can marry me? Mu Xianling said coldly. Think what you want. I'm waiting for the old ancestor of the Mu clan to come. Then we'll settle this matter, said Lin Feng indifferently. Then he walked away. Mu Xianling wanted to chase after him, but Duzu laughed sinisterly. Leave. Don't disturb my young master. Mu Xianling frowned slightly when she sensed Duzu's aura. She didn't chase after him. Instead, she looked at Duzu and the heretic sovereign saint, who were following behind Lin Feng. Mu Xianling couldn't see through the two of them. However, she could tell that the two of them respected Lin Feng greatly. If Lin Feng was just a puppet pushed by the reincarnation celestial sect, would he be respected by such experts Mu Xianling was puzzled, but she didn't think too much about it. She looked at Lin Feng's back and snorted coldly before leaving. Author's note: I encountered some troublesome matters in the real world. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you in the future. Chapter 2137. Since Lin Feng was staying in a high-class area of the inn, there was no other courtyard nearby for a long time. Therefore, this small conflict did not attract the attention of others. Lin Feng asked Du Zhu to compensate the inn's owner for the damage done to his courtyard. Then, he asked the inn's owner to arrange a new courtyard for him. Lin Feng spent most of his time in seclusion, cultivating wholeheartedly. On this day, someone sent over an invitation letter. Lin Gongzi. Tonight, there will be a banquet in the heavenly immortal pavilion to entertain young master. I hope young master will do me the honor of attending. The name, Su Miaoqing, was written on the note. There's no good banquet. Du Zhu sneered when he saw the contents of the letter. Lin Feng said with a smile, this fairy Miaoqing is no ordinary person. Look at her letter. Although it's only a few sentences, she sounds like an old friend. However, her fiancé, Dugu Di Tian, has a great enmity with me and many of my fellow disciples. Moreover, I've killed some disciples of the Supreme Immortal Sect over the years. For the sake of the Supreme Immortal Sect's dignity, Dugu Di Tian will definitely think of a way to kill me. Therefore, with the relationship between Dugu Di Tian and me, it can be said that Fairy Miaoqing and I are like fire and water. However, looking at this letter, it doesn't seem like fire and water at all. The heretic sovereign saint said, Master, what are your plans? Are you going to attend the banquet? Should I go or not? Lin Feng said, since it's an invitation from a beauty, why wouldn't I go? At night, Lin Feng brought Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint to attend the banquet. When they arrived at the heavenly immortal pavilion, they saw more than 10 young elites gathered there. Lin Feng even saw the siblings Mu Xianling and Mu Xiana. He also saw many people, but he did not recognize them. They were probably the young elites of the god realm of Tianhuang region. Lin Feng was not familiar with the young elites of the god realm of Tianhuang region. Servants are not allowed to enter. After seeing Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint, a young master in purple clothes said indifferently, Are you blind? We are Lin Gongzi's friends. Du Zhu said, You're lying. He's clearly a servant. Mu Xiana said coldly, Are you looking for a beating? Du Zhu glared fiercely at Mu Xiana. Previously, Mu Xiana was scared of Du Zhu. It was as if she was traumatized. When he heard Du Zhu's threat, he shrank back in fear. He did not dare to provoke Du Zhu now. Brother Lin, is this how you discipline your subordinates? The purple-clothed young master said coldly. This person seemed to be deliberately making things difficult for him. Du Zhu curled his lips and said, Looks like you're not just blind. You have a problem with your IQ as well. I've already said that we're friends, yet you insist that we're servants. Your grandfather knows a few skilled doctors. Do you want me to introduce them to you? You dare humiliate me. The purple-clothed young master glared at him. You want to fight? Are you qualified? Someone like you is only fit to fight with those kids, playing in the mud outside. Du Zhu said disdainfully. You're going too far. The purple-clothed young master could not take it anymore. He wanted to fight Du Zhu, but he was stopped by a young master in golden clothes. The young master in golden clothes said, Brother Morong, please don't be angry. This is a gathering of the young people. There's no need to bicker with old men. I hope that some old men will take the initiative to leave. Don't make us feel bad. The old men he was referring to were naturally Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage. It was obvious that Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage had lived for tens of thousands of years. Du Zhu said, Old man, Are you talking about yourself? I'm only 18 this year. What a beautiful age. Buffed. Many people burst out laughing. Lin Feng also burst out laughing. With Du Zhu's eccentric personality, it was easy for him to say some shocking things. However, those who argued with Du Zhu would definitely be angered to death by Du Zhu. When the golden-clothed young master heard Du Zhu's words, the corners of his mouth twitched violently. He said coldly, "Who are you trying to fool? I don't know if I'm lying, but I'm not lying," Du Zhu said with a shrug. Puffed. Many people burst out laughing again. Du Zhu was clearly saying that the golden-clothed young master was not human. Lin Feng watched the scene with a smile. Wasn't arguing with Du Zhu, just asking for trouble. "You dare to scold me?" The golden-clothed young master looked at Du Zhu angrily. He had been trying to persuade the purple-clothed young master not to get angry, but now he was even angrier than the purple-clothed young master. Du Zhu said, "I'm not scolding you. You're not human. If I'm not wrong, you're a cultivator from the Golden Wolf tribe, right? Why? Don't you want to be a member of the Golden Wolf tribe? You want to be human? You can't not acknowledge your ancestors. If you don't even acknowledge your ancestors, you'll be struck by lightning." The others tried their best to hold back their laughter. They were about to die from Du Zhu's antics. This fellow was simply the type to anger people to death. The golden-clothed young master was so angry that his entire body trembled. He wanted nothing more than to slap Du Zhu to death. When Fairy Miao Qing saw that the situation had developed to this point, she could not let the two sides continue arguing. Or else, the two sides would definitely fight. She did not organize this gathering to let them fight. She had her own goals. If the two sides fought, the gathering would definitely not be able to continue. Her goal would be to fail. Thus, Fairy Miao Qing said, "Two young masters, please give me some face today and stop arguing. What do you think?" The golden-clothed young master said with a gloomy expression, "Since Fairy Miao Qing has spoken, we naturally have to give you some face. Originally, I wanted to throw this impolite fellow out. Now let him off." Du Zhu smacked his lips and said, "Fairy Miao Qing called me young master? TSK, that's not a bad way to address me." Fairy Miao Qing's face darkened. That was just a form of address, all right? What was this fellow thinking? Fairy Miao Qing decided to ignore Du Zhu. Instead, she looked at Lin Feng and said, "Lin Gongzi, please take a seat with your two friends." Lin Feng nodded. He found a place to sit with Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage. Du Zhu said, "We are very busy. Why did you call us here? Hurry up and say it. Don't delay our matters." Fairy Miao Qing's face darkened. "Who invited you? If you were busy, you could have left. This place does not welcome you." At this moment, Fairy Miao Qing had the urge to throw Du Zhu out. Fairy Miao Qing's complexion does not seem too good. Could it be that your body is unwell? I am not talented, but I am skilled in medicine. I can do a full body checkup for Fairy Miao Qing," Du Zhu said with a grin. Chapter 21:38. Many people looked at Du Zhu from the corner of their eyes. Is this old fellow daydreaming? He actually wants to do a full body checkup for Fairy Miao Qing. We want to do that too. Even if we want to do a full body checkup for Fairy Miao Qing, it won't be your turn. Fairy Miao Qing's expression became a little unnatural. As one of the 5 great goddesses of the divine realm of Tianhuang region, who would dare to tease her like this? However, Du Zhu continued to tease her shamelessly. Right now, she really wanted to kick the poison ancestor into outer space. However, she had no choice but to suppress her anger and say, "Thank you for your concern. Young master, there is nothing wrong with my body, so there is no need for a checkup." Du Zhu smiled and said, "I know Fairy Miao Qing doesn't mean it. It's fine. We can do it in private." Many people wailed in their hearts. What kind of weirdo is this? He really dares to say anything. He even dares to tease Fairy Miao Qing. He really doesn't want to live anymore. If Fairy Miao Qing doesn't deal with you, and Duga Di Tian finds out, will he let you off? I said there is no need for a checkup. Fairy Miao Qing's voice gradually turned cold. Duzu smiled and didn't say anything else. Fairy Miao Qing heaved a sigh of relief. This fellow finally stopped talking. If he continued talking, she was really worried that she wouldn't be able to resist beating him up. Fairy Miao Qing said, I believe everyone still doesn't know Lin Gongzi. Let me introduce him to everyone. This Lin Gongzi is the disciple of the reincarnation immortal sex Lord Turtle Lin Feng, the leader of the overseas dragon sect. After hearing Fairy Miao Qing's introduction of Lin Feng, no one had a particularly enthusiastic reaction. They didn't really care about the so-called leader of the dragon sect. They all felt that Lin Feng was just a chess piece that the reincarnation immortal sect had pushed to the surface. Their families also had similar forces overseas. As for Lord Turtle's disciple, he couldn't attract the attention of these juniors. Lord Turtle's reputation was extremely resounding among the older generation experts. Everyone who saw him was afraid of him, and ghosts who saw him were frightened. They gritted their teeth in hatred. However, they couldn't do anything to Lord Turtle's eyes. As for the younger generation, some of them might have heard of some of Lord Tortoise's deeds, but when the younger generation heard about the deeds of the older generation cultivators, they basically treated them as stories. After all, he was far from being young. Basically, there was no interaction between them. Compared to Lin Feng's identity, everyone seemed to be more concerned about Mu Xianling's engagement. The golden-robed young man said, Sister Xianling, I heard that you are about to get married. We don't even know who your fiancé is. Isn't this a little too secretive? Mu Xianling sneered. He's just a coward. I don't care about him at all. A coward like him isn't even worthy of my attention. How can I marry a coward like him? Coward? Everyone looked at each other. Duan Mu Fengshen said, It seems that Sister Xianling has already met her fiancé. To me, that coward is just a passerby. If that coward's master hadn't used despicable means to deceive our ancestor, how could our ancestor have agreed to this marriage? Mu Xianling said disdainfully. Her eyes were intentionally looking at Lin Feng. Lin Feng naturally felt Mu Xianling's gaze, but his expression remained calm. He wasn't angered by Mu Xianling's mockery. Seems like Sister Xianling challenged her fiancé, but her fiancé didn't accept, right? A young man said with a smile, Do you dare to accept? I can crush him within 3 moves. Mu Xianling said arrogantly, Ha ha ha. We believe that Sister Xianling has the strength to do so. Among the younger generation, anyone who can withstand 3 moves from Sister Xianling is at least a peak expert. Someone immediately laughed. Fairy Miao Qing smiled as her eyes drifted between Lin Feng and Mu Xianling. She smiled and said, Sister Xianling is a peerless beauty. Once you awaken your Wood Saint bloodline, there will be very few people who can withstand your attacks. Ordinary men are naturally not worthy of Sister Xianling. At that moment, a hearty laugh came from outside. I wonder if I'm late? As soon as the voice faded, a man with eyes as bright as stars and a jade-like complexion walked in. Wu Qianquan. Many people quickly stood up when they saw the man. Wu Qianquan was ranked 3rd in the previous Heaven's Pride ranking. He was also one of the 3 supreme chosens of the Taishang Immortal Sect. Even during a gathering of the younger generation's top experts, Wu Qianquan was the center of attention. Wu Qianquan was definitely a figure that everyone adored. His arrival had caused quite a stir. Everyone stood up and greeted Wu Qianquan. Wu Qianquan also smiled and greeted everyone. Lin Feng, it's you. When Wu Qianquan saw Lin Feng, who was sitting there and sipping tea, his eyes were filled with endless killing intent. There's a grudge between the two of them. Many people's hearts skipped a beat when they saw the killing intent on Wu Qianquan's face. There was going to be a good show to watch. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Long time no see. You still dare to appear in front of me?" Wu Qianquan's eyes were filled with murderous intent. If it wasn't for the demoness Mu Xian, you saving your little life in the sea, you would have already been killed by me and fed to the sea beasts. Now that we meet again, do you want me to kill you? Or do you want me to kill you? That way, you can die a quick death. Wu Qianquan was extremely domineering. He did not think much of Lin Feng. Wu Qianquan, someone like you dares to act tough in front of me? I won't make a move. If I do, I'll crush you like an ant. Lin Feng said indifferently. Many people rolled their eyes when they heard Lin Feng's words. Among the younger generation, who would dare to say that they could defeat Wu Qianquan. Yet Lin Feng dared to say that he could crush Wu Qianquan like an ant. Wasn't he too good at bragging? Will this guy die if he doesn't brag? Many people muttered in their hearts, "Ha ha ha, this is the funniest joke I've heard today." Some people are so stupid that they don't even know their limits. They are simply courting death. Wu Qianquan stepped forward. A powerful aura spread out and shrouded Lin Feng. He wanted to make a move on Lin Feng. Many people were excited when they saw this scene. Those who wanted to watch the show didn't mind it. Naturally, they didn't mind watching this conflict. "That guy is dead for sure," Mu Xiang'a said softly. In his eyes, Wu Qianquan was like an unsurpassable mountain. Now, Wu Qianquan wanted to make a move on Lin Feng. Mu Xiang'a gloated at Wu Qianquan's misfortune. Mu Xianling, who was sitting at the side, looked indifferent. She looked at Lin Feng with a mocking expression. Her thoughts were the same as Mu Xiang'a's. Wu Qianquan made a move. Lin Feng would definitely die. If Lin Feng was killed by Wu Qianquan, it would save her a lot of trouble. Chapter 2139. Tisk TSK. Kid, do you want a one-on-one fight or a group fight? If it's a one-on-one fight, you can challenge the two of us. If it's a group fight, the two of us will beat you up. Duzu stood up and looked at Wu Qianquan with a cold smile. The heretic supremacy saint stood up as well. One on the left and one on the right, they locked onto Wu Qianquan. With Duzu and the heretic supremacy saint around, Lin Feng was naturally happy to be at ease. Right now, he was enjoying the feeling of others gnashing their teeth in hatred but being unable to do anything to him. How satisfying! I'll anger you to death. Wu Qianquan frowned when he sensed the terrifying aura emanating from Duzu and the heretic supremacy saint. Wu Qianquan frowned slightly. He looked at Lin Feng and said with a cold smile, "It seems like your character hasn't changed after so long. You don't even have the courage to come out and fight. What a coward." Lin Feng smiled indifferently and said, "Do you want to die so badly? I'm not killing you now, because I'm giving your supreme immortal sect some face. Yet, you're fooling around in front of me. I'll even dirty my shoes if I crush an ant like you. If you really want to die, the two people beside me can crush you to death. I don't even need to do anything." Keep bragging. Many people started to slander him in their hearts. In their opinion, Lin Feng did not dare to come out and fight because he was afraid. Besides, Lin Feng had two strong cultivators on his side. Therefore, he was very confident. He bragged with all his might and belittled Wu Qianquan in all sorts of ways. Anyway, he had two experts by his side. There was no need for him to be afraid of Wu Qianquan. "Young masters, how about we each take a step back? Miao Qing would like to propose a toast to the two of you. I hope the two of you can calm down a little. Fairy Miao Qing raised her cup and drank it in one gulp. According to Wu Qianquan's character, he would definitely make a move. However, he was afraid because of the two experts by Lin Feng's side. Now, Fairy Miao Qing had found a way out for him. Wu Qianquan did not continue to pester Lin Feng. However, before Wu Qianquan opened his mouth, Lin Feng had already said, "Today, I will give face to Fairy Miao Qing and spare your life. Don't show up in front of me in the future. Otherwise, I don't mind chopping off your head." Many people had bitter smiles on their faces. This guy was addicted to bragging. Wu Qianquan was extremely shrewd, but no matter how shrewd he was, now he was almost angered to death by Lin Feng. He really wanted to tear Lin Feng into pieces. However, he had no choice but to endure it for now. "I'm not going to argue with you. Who's weak and who's strong, who's brave and fearless, who's a coward, we all know." Wu Qianquan looked gloomy as he found a place to sit down. Fairy Miao Qing says, "Everyone is giving Miao Qing face by coming here." Miao Qing offers everyone a toast. Fairy Miao Qing raised her cup again. Cheers! Everyone raised their cups one after another. Then, they drank the wine in their cups together with Fairy Miao Qing. The gathering started with some exchanges on cultivation. Then, some people talked about some interesting stories or legends that they had heard when they were out training. Some people talked about some clues of secret treasures. Some people even talked about the heaven-shaking stone tablet. The cultivator who talked about the heaven-shaking stone tablet was called Zhang Ziwen. When he went to the forbidden land of Tianhuang, he heard some cultivators talking about the heaven-shaking stone tablet in the outer region of the forbidden land of Tianhuang. The biggest secret of our Tianhuang god realm is the forbidden land of Tianhuang. It's extremely dangerous and full of killing intent. It's said that there's a heaven-shaking stone tablet in there. Zhang Ziwen says, "Oh my God, it can't be? Won't those experts go crazy?" Suddenly, someone exclaims, "The heaven-shaking stone tablet was indeed too shocking. It was enough to make anyone go crazy." Zhang Ziwen says, "It's just a rumor after all. I'm not sure if it's true. The forbidden land of Tianhuang is so dangerous. Those experts wouldn't dare to enter it casually. Unless the restrictions of the forbidden land of Tianhuang are removed, it's suicide to enter." Everyone nodded. It was indeed, as Zhang Ziwen said, there were many dangerous places in the forbidden land of Tianhuang. It was said that great emperors were once buried there. There were even creatures from the underworld and ghost realm who stayed there. Therefore, that place could be called a forbidden zone for life. Such a place buried all the creatures of the world. Who would dare to enter it casually? Casually entering it was tantamount to throwing one's life away. Everyone was well aware of this. Those experts were all old foxes. Without absolute confidence, they would never take the risk to enter it. Let's not talk about these things. Let's talk about Brother Wu. I heard that Brother Wu is already engaged to the third Miss of the Zhang clan in Dragonfire State. It's said that Miss Zhang is also a peerless beauty. Brother Wu is really lucky with women. Fairy Miao Qing looked at a skinny young noble and couldn't help but smile as she spoke. The young man smiled and said, "Miss Zhang is indeed a good woman. I won't let her down if I get such a beauty." Many people here were young Master Wu's friends. They couldn't help but tease him. Naturally, they were only joking. Young Master Wu laughed it off. Fairy Miao Qing then looked at Wu Qianquan and said with a smile, "Senior Brother Wu is a dragon among men. You're also one of the 3 paragons among the younger generation of the Supreme Immortal Sect. In the future, you'll definitely become the Supreme Immortal Sect's guardian. I wonder if Senior Brother Wu already has a woman in mind? Wu Qianquan smiled and said, Indeed, I do have a woman in mind. However, I don't know what she's thinking. Oh, brother Wu already has a woman in mind. What kind of woman can make brother Wu take pity on her? Many people were shocked. Wu Qianquan was a peerless genius. It was unknown how many forces wanted to marry her. Over the years, there had been many matchmakers who came and went to the supreme immortal sect. Many of them were peerless beauties on the list of beauties. If he could get one of them, he would have no regrets in his life. However, Wu Qianquan had never agreed to it. Now that Wu Qianquan had a woman in mind, it was beyond everyone's expectations. I wonder which peerless beauty is so lucky to make senior brother Wu take pity on her, Fairy Miao Qing said with a smile. She would occasionally glance at Lin Feng with a hint of mockery on her face. Clearly, this woman had ulterior motives for organizing this gathering. It's Fairy Mu Xianling, Wu Qianquan said. The others were stunned. They didn't expect Wu Qianquan to have a crush on Mu Xianling. Mu Xianling was already engaged. Moreover, the engagement was set by the old ancestor of the Mu clan. It wouldn't be easy to change the engagement. Was Wu Qianquan trying to steal her away? Everyone turned to look at Mu Xianling, wanting to see her reaction. Fairy Miao Qing asked with a smile, Sister Xianling, do you have a crush on senior brother Wu? Chapter 2140. Fairy Miao Qing's question was very direct, and she would occasionally glance at Lin Feng. Clearly, she had found out through certain channels that Lin Feng was the man who was engaged to Mu Xianling. Lin Feng had long known that Fairy Miao Qing was up to no good. Now he had guessed correctly. Fairy Miao Qing wanted to help Wu Qianquan poach him. Lin Feng originally wanted to break off the engagement. That was true, but the engagement had not been broken off yet, at least before the engagement was successfully broken off. Mu Xianling was still his fiancée in name. However, Lin Feng was still as calm as an ancient well. No one knew what he was thinking. No one could guess what he was thinking. Sister, senior brother Wu is a dragon among men. He is the Prince Charming in the hearts of countless people. Just agree to senior brother Wu. Mu Xiang said. Mu Xianling did not directly agree or reject. Instead, she said, Let's not talk about this for now. Fairy Miao Qing said with a smile, Little Sister Xianling, as the saying goes, a good marriage is bound by a single thread. A good marriage is the most beautiful story. A goddess like you and a godson like senior brother Wu are simply a match made in heaven. No matter where you go, won't people be envious? Mu Xianling's beautiful face turned slightly red. She did not have any ill feelings towards Wu Qianquan. In fact, she even admired him. However, it was unrealistic for her to agree to Wu Qianquan's request now. Mu Xianling's standards were very high. Naturally, she would not casually agree to someone else's request. This concerned her life. Everyone was waiting for Mu Xianling's answer. They did not know if Mu Xianling would agree to Wu Qianquan's request. Based on their understanding of Mu Xianling, they knew that Mu Xianling did not directly reject him. Many people knew that even if Mu Xianling did not agree now, Wu Qianquan only needed to pursue her closely. Sooner or later, he would be able to deal with Mu Xianling. Perhaps Wu Qianquan was thinking the same thing. He could not help but reveal a hint of pride, a goddess that many people could not conquer, a goddess that many people had to look up to. Since she did not reject him, it meant that his chances were very high. Wu Qianquan could already see the scene of him chasing after Mu Xianling. While Wu Qianquan was feeling complacent, Du Zhu said with a smile, So, you're colluding with each other. Are you so eager to become an adulterous couple? Everyone was stunned. No one had expected Du Zhu to say something like that. They did not understand why Du Zhu would say such a thing. Saying those words would completely offend Wu Qiankuan and Mu Xianling. Offending Wu Qiankuan and Mu Xianling was equivalent to offending the supreme immortal sect and the Mu clan. Lin Feng smiled faintly. There were some words that were not suitable for him to say, but Du Zhu could say it. Du Zhu was also very good at figuring out Lin Feng's thoughts. He knew what Lin Feng was thinking. "Who are you calling an adulterer?" Wu Qiankuan said coldly. "Wu Qiankuan, you know that Mu Xianling has a fiancé, yet you still came to seduce her. Mu Xianling has a fiancé, yet she did not reject him. If you're not an adulterer, what are you?" As for the famous fairy Miao Qing, she's known as the goddess of heaven. Now, she's purposely trying to ruin someone's marriage. She's simply a male prostitute. Du Zhu spoke frankly with assurance. Du Zhu's words caused a huge uproar. "What did you say?" Fairy Miao Qing stood up and looked at the poison ancestor, with eyes filled with boundless killing intent. Female prostitute. That was perhaps the greatest insult to a human being. For a goddess of heaven, like Fairy Miao Qing, to be called a male prostitute by Du Zhu, it was naturally unacceptable and intolerable. "Fairy Miao Qing, don't be angry. Everyone calm down," Lin Feng said with a smile. "Lin Gongzi, your friend is too much. If you don't make things clear today, it won't end so easily," Fairy Miao Qing said coldly. Lin Feng smiled and said, "More importantly, my friend isn't wrong. You're a male prostitute." The corners of many people's mouths twitched violently. Fairy Miao Qing's eyes widened. She could not believe that Lin Feng would say something like that. This was a complete falling out with her. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Everyone, don't look at me in shock. Let me formally introduce myself. I'm the fiancé of Mu Xianling that you're talking about. However, a few days ago, I went to the Mu clan to break off the engagement, but they refused. I offered 1,000,000,000,000 origin crystals, but they refused. TSK, do you think the Mu clan is trying to latch onto me? Someone like Mu Xianling is already fooling around outside before she's even married. How can I marry her? Even if she lies on the bed and begs me to pamper her, I won't even look at her. Of course, Brother Wu can accept a woman that I don't want. After I break off this engagement, Brother Wu can officially pursue Mu Xianling. Don't worry, Brother Wu, no one will say that you're picking up a broken shoe." Wu Qiankuan's face was so gloomy that it could drip water. He originally wanted to pursue Mu Xianling and have her break off the engagement. That way, even if he married Mu Xianling, there wouldn't be any gossip. But the current situation was that Mu Xianling's engagement was about to be broken off by Lin Feng, a woman that Lin Feng didn't want. But he, Wu Qiankuan, accepted her. If this wasn't picking up a broken shoe, then what was? If this matter spread out, where would Wu Qiankuan put his face? "Lin Feng, you bastard, I want your life." Mu Xianling roared and directly rushed towards Lin Feng. Wu Qiankuan and Su Miaoqing also joined the battle. Wu Qiankuan and Lin Feng were old and new enemies. Wu Qiankuan couldn't wait to cut Lin Feng into pieces. As for Su Miaoqing, she was scolded by Lin Feng as a male thief and female prostitute. They had completely shed all pretense of cordiality. Not to mention, Su Miaoqing was Dugu Di Tian's fiancée. She originally wanted to scheme against Lin Feng. Since they had already shed all pretense of cordiality, there was nothing to hide. A broken shoe, a slut, and a despicable person. Kill the three of them. Lin Feng shouted, along with Du Zhu, evil sovereign saint, Wu Qiankuan, Su Miaoqing, and Mu Xianling immediately started fighting. Suddenly, tables, chairs, and tea sets flew everywhere. The rest of the people quickly dodged. making enough space for the 6 people to fight. Stop. Just as they started fighting, a cold shout could be heard. Then, more than 10 people rushed over. The leader was none other than the Mu clan's patriarch, Mu Tianjiang. An old friend came to visit Mu Tianjiang. Both of them came out together to experience the prosperity and liveliness of Mu Saint City. They didn't return to the Mu clan for dinner. Instead, they went to Celestial Pavilion for dinner. Celestial Pavilion could be found in many ancient cities. It was a chain restaurant and was also one of the Mu clan's businesses. Originally, it was a very happy meal. However, Mu Tianjiang was angry because Lin Feng's movements were too big. He couldn't not know even if he didn't want to. Chapter 2141. What are you guys doing here? Do you know how many people are laughing at you? Mu Tianjiang said in a low voice. Lin Feng looked very sad as he said, Senior, Mu Xianling has let me down. There's no way we can get married. Senior, I want to break off the engagement. Bullshit. When did I let you down? I never agreed to Wu Qianquan's request. Moreover, it's impossible between us. Whatever I do has nothing to do with you. Mu Xianling glared fiercely at Lin Feng. Wu Qianquan said, I didn't know that junior sister Xianling was already betrothed to someone else, so I asked junior sister Miao Qing to bring up this matter. If I knew, I wouldn't have acted so rashly. Please forgive me. Wu Qianquan's words immediately pulled him out of the situation. There were 3 meanings behind his words. First, he didn't know that Mu Xianling was engaged before he pursued her. If he knew, he wouldn't have pursued her. Second, he wouldn't have pestered Mu Xianling. Third, he had been tricked by Su Miaoqing. Although Wu Qianquan and Dugadi Tian were both one of the 3 supreme experts of the younger generation of the Supreme Immortal Sect, in reality, the relationship between Wu Qianquan and Dugadi Tian was not as harmonious as it seemed on the surface. The 2 of them were fighting openly and secretly. This was because they were fighting for the position of sect master. Unsurprisingly, the sect master of the Taishang Immortal Sect was one of the 3 supreme holy sons. Once he became the sect master, he would be above the immortal sect. He would be in charge of the most ancient sect. Just think about it. To fight for this position, it would be strange if Wu Qianquan and Dugadi Tian could become brothers who could talk about anything. Since ancient times, to fight for power, son killing father, brother killing brother, this kind of thing had happened countless times already. Moreover, Wu Qianquan and Dugadi Tian were only brothers. It was normal for them to plot against each other. Wu Qianquan wasn't stupid. He knew that Fairy Miaoqing was using him to deal with Lin Feng, but he didn't expose her because he also wanted to deal with Lin Feng. If he could get the beauty back, it would be great. But now, the matter had blown up. Wu Qianquan naturally wanted to protect himself. The first thing he needed to do was to protect his reputation. He had to extricate himself from it. After that, he did not forget to scheme against Fairy Miaoqing. Lin Feng had already guessed Wu Qianquan's plan. He couldn't help but mutter to himself. These people were also scheming and scheming, trying to outwit each other. In the end, Fairy Miaoqing shot herself in the foot. She deserved it. This woman looked like a goddess. But in reality, his intentions were treacherous. She was a complete slut. This was all a misunderstanding. Since the misunderstanding has been cleared up, I think we should let this matter rest for now. Mu Tianjiang was an old fox, he said aloud. Lin Feng smiled and didn't say anything else. Mu Xianling wanted to say something, but Mu Tianjiang glared at her. Mu Xianling swallowed the words that she was about to blurt out. You can all leave now. Young friend, please follow me back to the Mu clan. Let's have a good chat. Mu Tianjiang asked. Lin Feng smiled. Of course, no problem. After returning to the Mu clan, Mu Tianjiang said, "Young friend, please wait for a moment. My clan's old ancestor will be here soon." Oh, the Mu clan's old ancestor is back. Lin Feng's eyes lit up slightly. Yes, he just came back today. Originally, I wanted to inform you tomorrow, but who would have thought that something like this would happen? So, I brought you here to meet the old ancestor. Mu Tianjiang said. All right, I'll wait here for the old ancestor. Lin Feng said. Young friend, please wait for a moment. Mu Tianjiang said, and ordered an elder to accompany Lin Feng. Not long after, a hearty laughter could be heard from outside. Young friend, sorry to keep you waiting. As the voice faded, a tall and sturdy old man in a white robe walked in. Old ancestor. The elder of the Mu clan stood up and bowed to the old man. Lin Feng also stood up and bowed. Is your master doing well? Mu clan's old ancestor asked. Lin Feng said, Everything is fine. Thank you for your concern. I've heard that you want to cancel the engagement. What's wrong? Are you not satisfied with Xianling? Mu clan's old ancestor asked. Lin Feng said, I already have someone I like, so I won't agree to this engagement, no matter what. Mu clan's old ancestor said. Don't use these words to lie to me. You have many women around you. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Since you're so direct, I'll be frank too. I've met Mu Xianling, and I don't like her character. Moreover, she doesn't like me. Since we don't like each other, the engagement should be canceled. If we force ourselves to be together in the future, it won't be good for either of us. Moreover, marriage isn't a bet between the two of you, so I won't agree to this engagement. Marriage is decided by your parents. Your parents aren't around, so your master is like a father to you. Naturally, you have to listen to Master Gui. Mu clan's old ancestor said. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. What kind of twisted logic was this? Mu clan's old ancestor said. Since you don't like Xianling, I'll help you choose another one. There are many beautiful women in the 5 branches of the Mu clan. Moreover, there are a few whose talents aren't inferior to Xianling's. They're gentle and know how to take care of others. If they stay by your side, they can take care of your daily life. Lin Feng said. Old ancestor, can this engagement really not be canceled? It's already set, so it can't be canceled. Mu clan's old ancestor said firmly. Lin Feng had a helpless expression. He said, Then can Senior reveal the matter of the bet you made with my master? What happened back then? What did my master tell you? Why are you so determined to marry a woman from your clan to me? Mu clan's old ancestor said. Some things have to be prepared for a rainy day. Look at how prosperous the world is, and you don't see any signs of collapse. However, in reality, there's already an undercurrent surging. There's a pair of invisible hands controlling everything. We have to prepare as soon as possible. Otherwise, when the great calamity arrives, everything will be too late. Great calamity? What great calamity? Lin Feng asked curiously. Your master didn't tell you anything? Mu clan's old ancestor asked. No. Lin Feng shook his head. Mu clan's old ancestor said faintly. Then, do you know Master Gui's true identity and origin? This Lin Feng hesitated. He wanted to say yes, because he knew many things about Master Gui. However, since Mu clan's old ancestor asked such a question, Master Gui's origin was definitely not simple. Chapter 2142. Lin Feng said, This master of mine hides a lot of things from me. There are many times when I wonder if this master of mine is really my master. Looking at the Mu clan's ancestor's smiling face, Lin Feng asked calmly, Senior, tell me about this master of mine. What other awesome background does he have? Let this junior admire his glorious deeds. The Mu clan's ancestor said, "This master of yours, his background is not simple. He is—" Suddenly, the Mu clan's ancestor stopped speaking. He did not continue speaking. Lin Feng was listening with interest. The Mu clan's ancestor stopped abruptly. Wasn't this making him anxious? Lin Feng hurriedly said, "Ancestor, why did you stop? Continue speaking." The Mu clan's ancestor coughed dryly and said, "The secrets of the heavens cannot be revealed." Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. This Mu clan's ancestor was really too deceitful. He only spoke halfway, and his curiosity was completely piqued. Now he actually stopped talking. This made Lin Feng feel as if 100 claws were scratching his heart. Lin Feng said, "Senior, you can't be like this. We can't speak halfway." The Mu clan's ancestor said, "Just remember one thing. This master of yours is a—" Seeing that the Mu clan's ancestor had stopped speaking, Lin Feng said, "Is he a very awesome person?" The Mu clan's ancestor smiled and said, "He's a very deceitful old bastard." The older the ginger, the spicier it was. Lin Feng felt that he had been played by the Mu clan's ancestor. He felt that he should regain some initiative, or else he would be played in circles by the Mu clan's ancestor. This was not something that Lin Feng wanted to see. Lin Feng said, "Senior, if you continue to play this junior like this junior will definitely not marry your daughter. Even if she is as beautiful as a flower, this junior will not take a look at her." The Mu clan's ancestor snorted and said, "Do you know how many people want to marry into my Mu clan's 5 lineages? The line is enough to circle the entire god realm of Tianhuang region. You actually don't know what's good for you, and refuse? Let me tell you, you will regret it." Lin Feng said, "What kind of beautiful woman have I not seen? Although I like women, I will not be controlled by them. Kid, you're definitely going to be my Mu clan's son-in-law. It doesn't matter if you don't agree. When the time comes, I will force you to go through the wedding ceremony. What is done cannot be undone. At that time, my daughter of my Mu clan's daughter will bear your child." The old ancestor of the Mu family said indifferently. Lin Feng was sweating profusely. "Stop!" Lin Feng hurriedly called out. He then continued, "Let's talk about the great calamity." The Mu clan's ancestor's expression turned solemn. He said, "It's a long story. Do you know what the universe is made of?" Lin Feng was slightly taken aback. He did not expect the Mu clan's ancestor to go so far. He even talked about how the universe was made of. Lin Feng explained his understanding of the universe. Originally, the universe was a primal chaos world. Then, in that primal chaos world, some terrifying creatures were born. Those creatures were innate beings. Pango was born in that primal chaos world. He used his axe to split the primal chaos world. Then the primal chaos turned into all kinds of things, including all kinds of stars, all kinds of lives, and so on. "Yes, that's true," the Mu clan's ancestor continued. "Do you know what an epic is?" "An epic?" Lin Feng frowned slightly. The first thing he thought of was the epic hegemony he had learned. It was a hegemony that could continuously evolve. Epic hegemony carried the word epic. He wondered if it was related to the epic the Mu clan's ancestor was talking about. However, Lin Feng had no idea what an epic was. Lin Feng said, "I don't know what an epic is. Senior, please enlighten me." The Mu clan's ancestor said, "An epic is a unit of time." "Oh, a unit of time?" Lin Feng was surprised. The current unit of time was divided like this. There were 12 months in a year, 5 weeks in a month, 6 days in a week, 12 hours in a day, 4 quarters in a day, 3 cups of tea in a quarter, 2 incense sticks in a cup of tea, 5 minutes in an incense stick, 6 seconds in a minute, and 10 seconds in a snap of a finger. An instant was a second. The Mu clan's ancestor said, "A long 1 million years have passed. This 1 million years is just a number. When an epoch ends, another epoch begins. This is also the division of time. An epoch is a unit of time with a huge span. When 3,000 epochs have passed, we call it an epoch. An epoch. 3,000 epochs is an epoch. Buddhism says that there are 3,000 great realms. Does the division of the 3,000 great realms have anything to do with epochs?" Lin Feng asked curiously. "Everything in the world has its own rules and forms. These rules and forms abide by the laws of epochs. That's why the universe is divided into 3,000 great realms." The Mu clan's ancestor said, "If I'm not mistaken, it's already the 3,000th epoch since the beginning of the first great era. This should be an epoch, right?" Lin Feng said, "That's right. An epoch has passed. The current epoch we're in is the end of the epoch. It's the last epoch, and it's also the most terrifying one. This is because an unprecedented calamity will occur at the end of the epoch. This calamity is called the 5 signs of heavenly decay." The Mu clan's ancestor said, "5 signs of heavenly decay." Lin Feng frowned slightly. "What? You know about the 5 signs of heavenly decay?" The Mu clan's ancestor looked at Lin Feng in surprise. Lin Feng said, "I have a friend who's a cultivator of the mountain mover Taoist lineage. I once heard him mention the 5 signs of heavenly decay." "What did your friend say?" The Mu clan's ancestor asked curiously. "The 5 signs of heavenly decay is a Taoist term. The signs of the signs are as follows. 1. Withering corolla. The corolla worn by a heavenly being is weaved from fresh flowers. It's always fresh, fragrant, and clean. When one's life ends, the corolla will naturally wither. 2. Dirty clothes. The clothes worn by a heavenly being are very clean. They weigh only 3 baht, and 24 baht is 1 tael. They don't need to be washed. Why? Because the sky is clean and there's no dust. When one's life ends, the clothes will naturally be dirty. 3. Sweating from the armpits. Because the sky is cool, a heavenly being never sweats. When one's life ends, sweat will flow from the armpits, and the stench is unbearable. For body odor, a heavenly being's body will always emit a fragrance. Kindness will magnify the fragrance, and kindness will emit a small fragrance. It's several times more fragrant than the perfume of the mortal world. When one's life ends, a strange stench will be emitted. It's like a corpse, and other heavenly beings won't dare to approach. 5. Restless in the seat. A heavenly being often meditates, not moving from the seat. Clothing, food, and transportation can be obtained with just a thought. As the saying goes, thinking about clothing comes to mind, thinking about food comes to mind. The clothes are neither too big nor too small, neither too wide nor too narrow. They fit perfectly. The food is neither too much nor too little, neither too salty nor too bland. They fit the taste perfectly. When one wants to travel, one can think about it. What's the logic behind this? Because a heavenly being has the divine feet, they can do as they please without any restrictions. However, when one's life ends, they lose their composure. Knowing that the 4 signs have already happened, their hearts will be in a mess. They will be restless, sitting and standing. They will fall into the cycle of reincarnation, to experience life and death, to fall into hell, or to become a human. There's no definite answer, but it's all determined by karma. If one doesn't meditate, one will still fall into the 3 evils, Tao. Even Shi Huanin, known as God in the Western world and the Jade Emperor in the Taoist world, is no exception. He will still reincarnate. Chapter 2143. Who are the heavenly humans? The Mu clan's patriarch asked. The heavenly humans are referring to the heavenly humans in the heaven realm, right? They're a terrifying race. They're ancient and powerful. There's also an immortal race. They're very powerful and can fight against the heavenly humans. Many top-tier worlds, like the heaven realm, are controlled by these two races. Lin Feng said, "The 5 decays of the heavenly humans in Taoism are indeed referring to the heavenly humans. Of course, I'm not sure if the immortal race is included in it. However, the 5 decays of the heavenly humans that I'm going to talk about today are related to the various races and living beings in the universe." The Mu clan's patriarch said. When Lin Feng heard the ancestor of the Mu clan, he looked solemn. The Mu clan's patriarch's words, the implications were too great. Heaven and earth will be removed. The universe will evolve, the era will begin, and life will be born. A brand new world, a brand new heaven and earth will appear in front of us. This world, this heaven and earth, will give birth to countless hopes. Various races will appear and civilizations will appear in the world one after another. However, after 3,000 great eras, the epic has come to an end. Just like the end of human life, the heaven and earth will be destroyed, and all living creatures in the heaven and earth will be destroyed. This is the great calamity that we have to face. The Mu clan's patriarch said with a serious expression. Hearing these words, Li Chia said. Lin Feng's expression changed again and again. No eggs will remain intact when the nest is overturned. Heaven and earth will be destroyed. Cultivators who lived in the world, how could they survive? 3 realms and 6 paths. 3,000 great worlds. Billions of medium worlds. Small worlds. There were countless living beings. They would all die in the 5 decays of the heavenly humans. Just thinking about it sent chills down one's spine. The 5 decays of the heavenly humans were too terrifying. Is there no solution? Lin Feng frowned and asked. It's said that at the end of the era, after the world was destroyed, some people were lucky enough to survive and wait for the next era to begin. The Mu clan's patriarch said, "There's such a thing." Lin Feng frowned slightly. He instantly thought of many things. If what the Mu clan's patriarch said was true, didn't that mean that there were cultivators from the previous era who hadn't died before the start of this era? A black fog appeared in the darkness. They have unimaginable strength. They control many things in the world. They're so strong that it makes people despair. The creatures in the black fog are from the last epoch, said Lin Feng. The old ancestor of the Mu family said, "Senior, you also know about the creatures in the black fog?" Lin Feng said in surprise, "How could I not know? It is precisely because I know of their existence that I know how terrifying the creatures in the black fog are." The old ancestor of the Mu family took a deep breath and said, "What exactly are the creatures in the black fog?" Lin Feng asked. The ancestor of the Mu clan frowned and said with a serious expression, "No one knows what race they are. Perhaps the people who saw them are already dead." That night, Lin Feng and the Mu family's old ancestor chatted until late at night. He roughly knew why the ancestor of the Mu clan was so insistent on betrothing a woman from their clan to him. It was because of the 5 decay of the celestial being. The ancestor of the Mu clan wanted to prepare for a rainy day. He didn't know what Lord Tortoise had said to the ancestor of the Mu clan to make the ancestor believe in him. In the Mu clan's patriarch's opinion, if the decay of the celestial being really came, Lin Feng might be the most likely person to protect some people against the decay of the celestial being and survive until the next epoch. "Young friend, it's getting late. Don't go back. I'll arrange a place for you to stay," the ancestor of the Mu clan said. Lin Feng nodded. Duzu and the heretic sovereign saint were still waiting for him in the side hall. The ancestor of the Mu clan ordered someone to arrange a place for Lin Feng with an elegant environment. There was a large grassland around him that was full of greenery. Behind him was a purple bamboo forest. There was a huge pond in front of him. All kinds of fish swam happily in the pond. Beside the pond was a gurgling stream, rockery, and a small bridge with flowing water. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign saint quickly rested. Early the next morning, Lin Feng had just woken up. He put on his clothes and opened the door. He got up and was about to wash up. At this moment, a woman walked in with a wash basin. There was clear water in the wash basin. This woman had a graceful figure and a picturesque face. Her palm-sized face could be said to be a masterpiece of the heavens. She was so beautiful that it was suffocating. She exuded an aura that was like a classical beauty. She was like a fairy that had walked out of a painting. Even though Lin Feng was used to seeing all kinds of beautiful women, he couldn't help but be amazed when he saw this woman who was like a fairy from a painting. "You are?" Lin Feng asked. The woman put down the wash basin, placed her hands in front of her, and bowed to Lin Feng. Then she said, "Young master, I am Mu Xianshi. I am. At this point, she was unable to continue speaking. She lowered her head, and her beautiful face was flushed red. Lin Feng had already guessed who this woman was. She should be the woman that the Mu clan sent to replace Mu Xianling to marry him. There was a good saying, no comparison, no harm. Mu Xianling's personality was self-righteous. Her high and mighty expression was really disgusting. Mu Xianshi was beautiful, gentle, attentive, and considerate. She was the dream marriage partner of all men. If the Mu clan had directly asked Mu Xianshi to marry him, Lin Feng might have agreed. Why would he reject the marriage? Lin Feng reached out and grabbed Mu Xianxi's hand. He smiled and said, "You are my future wife." Mu Xianxi's face was so red that it seemed like blood could drip out. She wanted to retract her hand, but she was worried that Lin Feng would be angry. Thus, she allowed Lin Feng to grab her hand. She didn't dare to raise her head to look at Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at Mu Xianshi carefully. The more he looked, the more beautiful she was. Even a fairy from a painting couldn't compare to Mu Xianshi. Mu Xianshi said, "Let me help you wash up." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I will have to trouble you, my wife." Mu Xianshi blushed and said, "We haven't married yet. It's not good to call me that." Lin Feng smiled and said, "No problem. There are no outsiders now, so I will call you my wife. When there are outsiders around, I will call you Shi. Mu Xianshi had a strange feeling in her heart. She had always been single and had never had intimate contact with any man. Lin Feng was the first man that she had intimate contact with. His actions were a little frivolous. Mu Xianshi thought that she wouldn't be used to it. However, when she heard Lin Feng's frivolous words of love, Mu Xianshi felt that she wasn't that resistant. Perhaps it was because her life was already promised to this person. Thus, she didn't reject him. Seeing that he liked her so much, she was also very happy. Chapter 2144. Under Mu Xianxi's care, Lin Feng finished washing up. Mu Xianshi said, "I brought breakfast when I came over. Go and have some now." "Okay." Lin Feng nodded. He went to the living room with Mu Xianshi. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint were already sitting there. Lin Feng hadn't eaten yet, but the two of them had already started eating. Mu Xianshi was very considerate. She knew that there were 3 people with Lin Feng, so she specially brought 3 sets of breakfast. "This fairy is..." Du Zhu looked at Lin Feng with a smile that didn't look like a smile. Mu Xianshi bowed and said, I am Mu Xianshi. I am now Lin Gongzi's fiancé. Yesterday, Lin Feng had talked to Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint about the annulment of the engagement. Because the Mu clan's ancestor didn't agree, the annulment of the engagement was naturally left unsettled. However, he would be engaged to another girl. Thus, Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint knew about this. Seeing how gentle Mu Xianshi was, the heretic sovereign saint said, She's better than the other one. Du Zhu smiled and said, This little girl is indeed not bad. She's much better than that Mu Xianling. It's a good choice for the young master to marry her. This time, the old fogies of the Mu clan didn't blindly set up a matchmaker. When Mu Xianshi heard Du Zhu talking about the Mu clan, she didn't say anything. Lin Feng said, Sit down and eat too. I've already eaten. Mu Xianshi said. Lin Feng nodded and didn't force Mu Xianshi. After Lin Feng finished his breakfast, Mu Xianshi left. In the distance, Mu Xianling couldn't help but reveal a cold expression when she saw Mu Xianshi leave. She pulled out her sword and charged towards Lin Feng's residence. Bang! The door to Lin Feng's courtyard was kicked open by Mu Xianling. Lin Feng, you bastard! What right do you have to divorce me? What right do you have to divorce me? Mu Xianling directly charged into the living room with her sword. Du Zhu shouted, Wah, the bitch is here. I'll hack you to death. Bastard. Mu Xianling slashed her sword towards Du Zhu, but Du Zhu easily dodged the attack. Poison Ancestor curled his lips and said, I can't provoke you, but I can always hide from you. The Poison Ancestor stood in the distance, watching the show. The evil sovereign saint also stood together with the Poison Ancestor. Clearly, they had no intention of meddling in this matter. It involved women's affairs. It was too troublesome. Lin Feng said indifferently, This matter was resolved peacefully. Your Mu clan's ancestor agreed to it, so there's no need to divorce you. Moreover, I know that you don't like me. Since you don't like me, there's no longer any connection between us. This matter can be considered the most perfect solution for both of us. Mu Xianling said coldly, It's true that I don't like you, but even if the marriage is to be annulled, I should be the one to bring it up first, not you. That's not up to you to decide. Lin Feng said indifferently, If you don't like it, you can look for your Mu clan's ancestor and talk about it. You don't have to come here and talk to me about these useless things. Mu Xianling said coldly, I won't look for the ancestor. Stop pestering me, said Lin Feng coldly. Mu Xianling said sarcastically, I know that the clan has betrothed Mu Xianshi to you. Do you know who Mu Xianshi is? Mu Xianshi is from the third main branch. Her mother was just a lowly servant back then. A person like Mu Xianshi doesn't have any status in the clan. Her existence is just a tool for marriage. However, a person like you isn't worthy of me. You're only worthy of marrying the bastard child of a maid in my Mu clan. Get out, Lin Feng said coldly. What? Did I hurt your pride? Could it be that I'm wrong? With your status, you don't even have the right to make me look at you. However, you're quite compatible with Mu Xianshi's bastard child. Mu Xianling said with a laugh and walked out. You self-righteous, crazy woman. Lin Feng sneered. In the afternoon, Lin Feng and the Mu clan's ancestor gathered to discuss the marriage with Mu Xianshi. Lin Feng wanted to postpone the marriage. He wasn't in a hurry to get married. Moreover, since both parties had already agreed on the marriage, Lin Feng wouldn't go back on his word. The Mu clan's ancestor didn't have any objections. Lin Feng planned to leave. He couldn't wait to return to the reincarnation immortal sect. He wanted to interrogate his chief master and find out what kind of identity he was hiding. Lin Feng guessed that once he found out about Master Turtle's identity, he would definitely be shocked. that identity would definitely be very frightening. Therefore, Lin Feng bid farewell to the Mu clan's ancestor. Mu Xianxue also knew that Lin Feng was about to leave, so she came to Lin Feng's place. "Be careful on the road," Mu Xianxue said. Lin Feng nodded. He saw that Mu Xianxue seemed to have a lot on her mind, so he asked, "Did something happen?" Mu Xianxue said in a leisurely voice, "I already know that Mu Xianling came to find you. My father is the 4th generation great-great-grandson of the 3rd main branch's first elder. My mother is just an ordinary maid. Many people call me a bastard. I know that I am not worthy of young master. I know that you're leaving because you're regretting it. If you don't want me anymore, I can go to the Mu clan's ancestor and tell him about it." Lin Feng suddenly felt sorry for her. He caressed Mu Xianxue's beautiful face and said, "The Mu clan's ancestor promised you to me, so he knows that I'm not the kind of person who cares about status. I'm leaving not because of you, but because I want to return to the sect and see my master. I haven't seen him in a long time, and there are many things that I want to verify with him. Therefore, I chose to leave at this time. Please don't let your thoughts run wild. Understand?" Mu Xianxue raised her head and looked at Lin Feng. She could see the sincerity in Lin Feng's clear eyes. Mu Xianxue nodded her head heavily. Her voice trembled as she said, "Can you hug me?" Lin Feng hugged Mu Xianxue tightly. 2 hours later, Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign saint left the Mu clan and quickly left. 5 days later, they arrived at Beixian City. There was a space-time wormhole in Beixian City, so they could go directly to Snow Eagle City in the northern Barbarian province. After reaching Snow Eagle City, they could return to the Reincarnation Immortal sect after flying for half a month. Lin Feng and the other 2 were about to head to the teleportation plaza. Suddenly, in the depths of the divine realm of Tianhuang, a thick immortal light shot up into the sky. Following that, a voice resounded throughout the entire divine realm of Tianhuang. Who can become an immortal? Chapter 2145. It sounded like a shout. It sounded like a question from an immortal. It reverberated through heaven and earth, so loud that even the deaf could hear it. At that moment, countless people heard that voice. It sounded like the divine voice of the heavenly Tao. It suddenly sounded. It was shocking and moving. "Look, it's the forbidden ground of heaven wasteland." Everyone looked into the distance and saw immortal light soaring into the sky. Countless people roared in shock. The forbidden ground of heaven wasteland. It was a forbidden zone filled with countless secrets. Lin Feng even heard Zhang Zi when talking about the heaven-shaking stone tablet. It was rumored that a heaven-shaking stone tablet had appeared in the heaven wasteland sacred ground. It was really earth-shattering news. However, the heaven wasteland sacred ground was too dangerous, and no one dared to explore it. Now that there was a change in the heaven wasteland sacred ground, everyone was shocked. The cycle of time, the birth and death of fate, the decay of heaven and earth. Only immortals are eternal. The path to immortality, singing the heavenly song, billions of years pass in the blink of an eye. The ethereal voice once again reverberated in the sky of the heaven wasteland sacred ground. It's the legendary song of immortality. Many experts of the older generation rushed out, extremely excited. The song of immortality has appeared, and the forbidden ground has opened. Quickly go to the forbidden ground of heaven wasteland and find the heaven-shaking stone tablet. The secret to immortality is on it. Many experts of the older generation were so excited that they could not control themselves. The heaven-shaking stone tablet had a lot of implications. It was an opportunity that could make anyone go crazy. The heaven-shaking stone tablet recorded supreme immortal techniques, the way to immortality, the way to become an emperor, and so on. They were the greatest secrets in the world. Many people were looking for the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Even if they did not want to become an immortal, they wanted to become an emperor. Emperor. It was the pinnacle of the world. Immortal. It was a faintly discernible existence, an existence that only existed in legends. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless figures flew into the depths of the forbidden ground of Heaven Wasteland. Let's go and see if there really is a heaven-shaking stone tablet in the forbidden ground of Heaven Wasteland. Lin Feng said in a low voice, "Ha ha ha, if we can find the heaven-shaking stone tablet, I don't want the way to become an immortal, only the way to become an emperor. If we can get it, we will become an emperor." Du Zhu suddenly burst into laughter. Du Zhu was originally an expert of the half-emperor realm. Back then, he was still a bit away from becoming a true great emperor, mainly because he had not grasped the method to affirm his Tao and become a great emperor. Later on, after being suppressed by someone, his cultivation dropped. Currently, Du Zhu's cultivation was gradually recovering. If Du Zhu could really master the great emperor technique, he would be able to do so. In that case, it was not impossible for Du Zhu to break through to the great emperor realm. "I also need the great emperor technique," the evil dominator saint said. The light in his pale green eyes pulsed violently, showing that his heart was not calm. The evil dominator saint was a corpse cultivator. The corpse of a great emperor had awakened its consciousness. But this was already a brand new life. He was no longer the great emperor of the past. Therefore, only the evil dominator saint's physical body had reached the emperor realm. His own realm was still far from enough. Naturally, it wasn't easy to raise one's cultivation level to the emperor realm. However, if one could find the sky-shaking stone tablet and obtain the opportunity within, one would be able to obtain this great fortune. Who dared to say that the evil dominator saint could not prove his Tao and become an emperor? For Lin Feng, he also wanted to find the sky-shaking stone tablet. This was not the first time he had seen the sky-shaking stone tablet. Back then, he had carried the sky-shaking stone tablet to kill the foreign realm gods in the ancient city of stars. However, at that time, the sky-shaking stone tablet had flown away before he could comprehend the secrets of the sky-shaking stone tablet. And now, there was still a broken sky-shaking stone tablet in Lin Feng's mountain river ring. He didn't know what kind of expert had broken it. Now it was silent. There was nothing special about it. Now that a new sky-shaking stone tablet had appeared, this was a rare opportunity. As for returning to the reincarnation immortal sect to ask Master Turtle some questions, Lin Feng had already forgotten about it. He could ask Master Turtle any time. However, he didn't know when he would encounter such an opportunity again, if he missed the opportunity of the forbidden grounds of Infinite Wasteland this time. There was a huge crowd in front of the forbidden grounds of Infinite Wasteland. Densely packed cultivators were scattered everywhere. No one knew how many people there were. And this was only the cultivators who were closer to the forbidden grounds of Infinite Wasteland. Some cultivators who were further away must still be on their way. The restriction in the forbidden grounds of Infinite Wasteland had not completely disappeared. Therefore, it was still emitting waves. Everyone was waiting quietly. Boom! A terrifying wave came from the depths of the forbidden grounds of Infinite Wasteland. Then, a dazzling ball of immortal light flew out quickly. "What's going to fly out?" many people exclaimed. "Hurry up and get ready to snatch that treasure." Many people yelled excitedly. The immortal light lingering around, it would definitely shock the world. If this treasure really flew out, it would probably cause a bloody battle. Immortal artifact. Someone shouted, "It's really an immortal artifact." Then many people shouted in shock. As the ball of immortal light flew over, everyone could feel the powerful immortal pressure. It must be an immortal artifact. Otherwise, what could release immortal pressure? Even in the 9 states, only a few forces had immortal artifacts. If they could get an immortal artifact, that would be too heaven-defying. However, the ball of immortal light did not rush out of the forbidden grounds of infinite wasteland. Instead, it stopped outside. "Come out quickly." Many people shouted anxiously, waiting for the immortal artifact to rush out. Whoosh! The ball of immortal light flew into the depths again, and soon disappeared. Oh, it ran away. What a pity! Why isn't this damn restriction gone yet? Many people shouted gloomily, but no matter how depressed everyone was. Now, they could only wait outside for the restriction to open. Lin Feng looked at the immortal artifact, leaving, and frowned slightly. He suddenly remembered the divination Ji Wu had done for him. The 7 stars will shift, the sky will fall, the immortal artifact will appear. Wait for the right time. At that time, Lin Feng asked Ji Wu to help him divine the location of the Soul Master Dao sect. Ji Wu did a divination for Lin Feng. Then he got this conclusion. Ji Wu said that when the immortal artifact appeared, the inheritance of the Soul Master Dao sect would also appear. He asked Lin Feng to wait for the immortal artifact to appear. And now, wasn't it the birth of the immortal artifact? Is the inheritance of the Soul Master Dao sect also going to appear? Lin Feng's face showed a hint of joy. The inheritance of the Soul Master Dao sect appeared. The soul planting technique on you could be resolved. Suddenly, Lin Feng seemed to sense something and looked to the left. He saw a man walking over. The man, who looked like a savage, had disheveled hair and exuded an ancient and intimidating aura. Many people couldn't withstand the terrifying pressure emitted by the man and retreated. They stood in the distance and pointed, discussing the man's identity. The savage man stood quietly in the forest, looking into the depths of the forbidden grounds of infinite wasteland. Chapter 2146. Lin Feng looked at the barbarian-like man and frowned slightly. The origin of this man was too mysterious. Even Lin Feng had not figured out the origin of this man. Like an immovable ancient god, he stood on the spot and looked into the distance. Lin Feng touched his chin. This place was not simple to attract a barbarian. Could it be that the barbarian had also heard about the legend of the heaven-shaking stone tablet and had come to look for it? What a strong competitor. Of course, the barbarian might have another purpose. Lin Feng hoped that he was not here for the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Time passed by. Day by day, more and more cultivators gathered outside. As for the restriction, it was constantly weakening. 10 days later, finally, the restriction finally dissipated. "Let's go!" Many cultivators shouted loudly, rushing into the sky and rushing into the forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland. But there were also many cultivators who did not rush into the forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland. This forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland was a terrifying forbidden zone for life. Many people were naturally more cautious. They were also worried that once they entered the Heaven Wasteland, Holy Land, they would encounter danger, so they chose to wait outside. If there was no danger, they would enter. Seeing that the first batch of cultivators who rushed into the forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland did not encounter any danger, those people were relieved and also rushed in. More and more cultivators rushed into the forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland, including the barbarian man. Like a fiend god, he stepped forward, his figure tall and imposing, and his aura terrifying, causing passers-by to retreat. It's not a good thing for such a powerful person to enter the Heaven Wasteland, Holy Land. Some top-notch experts were secretly communicating with each other. The barbarian man gave them a great sense of oppression. "We came with supreme treasures. If we join forces, we won't be afraid of this person. Then someone said with a sneer, his voice containing cold killing intent, "That's right. There's no need to worry at all. We have supreme treasures that can kill gods and Buddhas. Why should we be afraid of this person?" As the voices of those experts faded, they also quickly entered the forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland. Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil dominator saint did not panic after entering the Heaven Wasteland Holy Land. How could the immortal artifact and heaven-shaking stone steel be so easily obtained? Therefore, there was no need to be anxious. That kind of treasure would definitely cause a storm of blood. If he went there now, he would only exhaust his battle strength in advance. The losses outweighed the gains. It would be better to wait until the most critical moment of the battle before finding an opportunity to strike. All of a sudden, Lin Feng felt a few icy cold killing intents directed at him. He turned towards the direction where the killing intents came from. On his left, Fairy Miao Qing was dressed in snow-white robes. She looked like a fairy that had descended from the 9 heavens to the mortal world, pure and holy. She had always been beautiful and moving. Her temperament was so outstanding that no one dared to look at her directly, because he looked directly at Fairy Miao Qing. It was a form of blasphemy to her. On the other side, Lin Feng saw Wu Qianquan. Wu Qianquan was like a dragon among men. He was surrounded by the aura of an emperor. This person was simply too extraordinary. It was no wonder that he could become a supreme expert of the younger generation. There were also 2 other killing intents that Lin Feng was unable to pinpoint. The other party had deliberately concealed themselves. Danger lurks everywhere. Lin Feng muttered softly. He did not stay and left with Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage. No matter who came, Lin Feng was fearless. Even if an expert at the peak of the giant god realm came, Lin Feng was confident that he could escape even if he was no match for such an expert. A treasure mountain has appeared ahead. Many people have gone there to dig for treasures. It is said that many people have dug out some precious items. Some even dug out the inner core of a silver-horned heavenly dragon. What? Silver-horned heavenly dragon? A heavenly dragon's horn has evolved into silver. It should be at least at the half-emperor realm, right? The inner core of a heavenly dragon is already rare. A half-emperor heavenly dragon's inner core is simply unimaginable. Many people have dug out a giant god weapon. Some even dug out a half-emperor weapon. If they continue digging, they might even find an emperor weapon. The group of people discussed excitedly. Then, they rushed to the front one after another. "Let's go and take a look too," Lin Feng said. He was also very curious as to what kind of treasure mountain could have so many treasures. The 3 of them quickly flew forwards, and after a short time, Lin Feng saw the treasure mountain. To be precise, it was a huge mountain range that stretched for more than 10 miles. It lay in the forest like a huge dragon resting on the ground. "This is a dragon vein. What a good place. A place with good feng shui," Du Zhu said. Lin Feng nodded. It was indeed a place of treasure. It was no wonder there were so many treasures buried in the mountain. "Let's go and dig," Lin Feng said. He knew the dragon-seeking formula and was familiar with the method of locating acupoints. Therefore, it was easy to dig out some treasures here. Lin Feng took out some tools and distributed them to Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage. Then, the 3 of them began digging. This place could indeed be called a treasure mountain. It did not take long for Lin Feng and the other 2 to dig out more than a dozen giant god weapons. It was a huge harvest. Boom! At that moment, a terrifying fluctuation came from afar. Someone dug out a heaven-defying treasure. Following that, a cultivator shouted. Such a powerful fluctuation. What exactly did they dig out? Lin Feng's face was full of shock and emotion. He, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage quickly rushed out. They wanted to see what kind of powerful treasure the cultivator had dug out. By the time they rushed over, a battle had already broken out at the place where the treasure was dug out. The cultivator who dug out the treasure was not alone. He had more than 30 companions with him. There were even more cultivators surrounding them. Some of them were tempted by the treasure. It was common in the world of cultivators to kill and steal the treasure. Therefore, Lin Feng was not surprised. Many cultivators gathered around to watch the show. Many of them had fierce looks in their eyes. Although they were holding back from attacking, if there was a chance to attack, they would definitely attack without hesitation. The battle was very intense. Although the cultivators who had obtained the treasure were not weak, there were too few of them. They were gradually unable to hold on. Bang! Suddenly, a cultivator's storage ring exploded. Then, a grayish-brown ball of light flew out. "That's the treasure!" many people exclaimed. The grayish-brown ball of light was obviously unwilling to be taken by someone just like that. It wanted to break out of the encirclement. However, there were formation experts here. They sealed the void and prevented the grayish-brown ball of light from escaping. Many cultivators pounced on the grayish-brown ball of light. "That's my treasure!" The cultivator who obtained the treasure first shouted angrily. He quickly chased after the grayish-brown ball of light. He was the closest to the grayish-brown ball of light and wanted to suppress it. At that moment, the surrounding cultivators attacked. All kinds of divine abilities were thrown at the cultivator. Bang! The cultivator's body instantly exploded. He died on the spot. Chapter 2147. "It's mine! It's mine!" Many people roared and continued to fight for the treasure in the grayish-brown orb. However, no one knew what the treasure in the grayish-brown orb was. The grayish-brown light concealed the true form of the treasure, so it was able to fool everyone. However, everyone fought like crazy for this unknown treasure. It was clear that everyone treated the treasure in the grayish-brown light as a supreme treasure. In the end, the treasure broke through the seal and fled into the distance. Lin Feng wanted to give chase, but he stopped in time. Du Zhu asked, "Why aren't you chasing?" I didn't see what kind of treasure it was, but from the powerful energy waves it emitted, it's definitely an extraordinary supreme treasure. Lin Feng said, "I sense the power of a curse from that treasure. It's definitely not simple. I'm afraid it's related to a curse. As long as it's related to a curse, I think we should stay away from it." A curse. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint's expressions turned serious. It was the most terrifying and evil Tao in the world. There were millions of curses in the world, and any one of them was enough to cause extremely terrifying things. Even someone like Lin Feng, who cultivated the great curse art, didn't want to be involved with another curse. "Chase! Don't let that treasure escape." The densely packed cultivators chased after it. Naturally, they wouldn't let such an extraordinary treasure escape. That would be too much of a pity. Of course, not everyone gave chase. Many people didn't want to get involved in this mess, so they didn't chase after the treasure. Instead, they returned to the treasure mountain to continue digging. "My little baby, come out quickly. Don't hide anymore. Come out quickly." Du Zhu shouted as he dug. His eyes were shining. This guy had dug out quite a few good things. Crack! The heretic sovereign saint swung his shovel down. Immortal light instantly filled the surroundings. Waves of fragrance wafted through the air. Next, the sound of the great Tao resounded. Heavenly Tao origin. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. His face was filled with incomparable shock. The evil sovereign saint actually dug out such a treasure. The evil Dominator Saint and Du Zhu's eyes lit up. Du Zhu was about to drool as he shouted, "Let me do it! Let me do it!" The evil Dominator Sage gave him some space, and the poison ancestor dug out a lump of immortal Tao origin source with a few shovels. Immortal energy swirled around. Waves of immortal light intertwined, and waves of divine charms surged. The immortal Tao quintessence vibrated with powerful ripples. Ha ha ha! What a huge ball of immortal Tao essence! We're rich! Du Zhu laughed loudly. Then, he sealed the immortal Tao origin and handed it over to Lin Feng. This guy didn't seem to be too pleased with himself. He still remembered that such a treasure should be distributed by Lin Feng. Come out. At this time, a cultivator's cold shout came from outside. Lin Feng kept the heavenly Tao origin and then walked out with Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint. At this time, over 100 cultivators had gathered outside. The person in the lead had triangular eyes and a skinny figure. He gave off a sinister feeling. Lin Feng said indifferently, "What's the matter?" "Kid, hand over the immortal Tao origin. Otherwise die." The triangular-eyed cultivator sneered. The people from the evil God Valley are the #1 evil faction in the divine realm of Tianhuang region. These people are all extremely evil. Now that you've been targeted by them, you won't have a good ending. There are too many people from the evil God Valley. When these demons gather together, there's no one they don't dare to rob. There are only 3 of them. I think this is going to be troublesome. Unless you hand over the immortal Tao origin, you'll be able to avoid disaster. That's right. You have to make a choice. Many people started discussing. Naturally, they didn't think that Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the evil Dominator Saint would win. The difference in numbers was too great. If they really fought, they didn't even need to think to know what the result would be. Said Lin Feng indifferently. "You're acting recklessly. If you want to live, piss off." Everyone was stunned. Even the people from the evil God Valley were stunned. No one expected Lin Feng to be heavily surrounded. They actually dared to ask the people from the evil God Valley to get lost. Wasn't this too arrogant? Did they really think that the people from the evil God Valley were kind people? After all, these people were a group of extremely ferocious and evil people. Courting death. Courting death. Kill these 3 people. The triangular-eyed cultivator roared. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Then, over 100 experts from the evil God Valley surrounded Lin Feng and the other 2. "Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive," said Lin Feng with his hands clasped behind his back. He looked indifferent. "Yes, young master." Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint responded. Then, they rushed out like 2 spirits. Their bodies were emitting waves of cold and terrifying killing intent. After the 2 charged into the crowd, it was as if they had entered a place where no one could stop them. Poof, poof, poof. Tearing sounds rang out one after another. One by one, the experts from the evil God Valley were killed. These people could tell that Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint were not to be trifled with. They knew that they had kicked an iron plate. The triangular-eyed cultivator shouted, "Hurry up and leave!" He took the lead and retreated outside. The rest of the evil God Valley cultivators also followed closely behind, wanting to retreat. However, no one was able to escape. Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint were too powerful. "Are you really going to kill us all? Our evil God Valley is not to be trifled with." The triangular-eyed cultivator shouted angrily, wanting to threaten Lin Feng. But Lin Feng was not moved at all. Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint did not receive Lin Feng's order to stop, so they naturally would not stop. Thus, the 2 sides continued to fight. In the end, Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint killed all the cultivators from the evil God Valley. Seeing the corpses on the ground, many of the spectating cultivators turned pale. Aren't these people too savage? So many experts from the evil God Valley were killed by them. Let's go, Lin Feng said as he walked into the distance. After Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint took these people's storage rings, they followed closely behind Lin Feng and left. Lin Feng and the other two did not go far. They stopped at a mountain peak not far away. Since they had obtained the immortal Tao origin, they naturally had to refine it quickly to prevent any accidents from happening. Lin Feng divided the immortal Tao origin into 3 portions, one for each of them. Du Zhu cried out, "Immortal Tao origin, what a good treasure. After we finish refining it, we can continue digging. Who knows, we might even be able to dig out the immortal Tao origin." Lin Feng laughed and said, "I hope so." He then set up a few arrays, and the 3 of them found a place to refine the immortal Tao origin. One day later, Lin Feng finally refined all of the heavenly Tao origin and his cultivation. He had also broken through from the 2nd layer of True God Realm to the 4th layer of True God Realm. This made Lin Feng extremely happy, as expected of a treasure like the immortal Tao origin. It actually allowed him to break through 2 levels consecutively. Chapter 2148. After Lin Feng broke through, he noticed that Du Zhu and Heretical Sovereign Saint were still breaking through. He didn't disturb them, and instead walked out of seclusion to look at the treasure mountain from afar. Many people were still digging at the treasure mountain. There were indeed many treasures there, so more and more cultivators were attracted. However, as more and more cultivators came to dig, more and more conflicts and bloodshed occurred. At this time, more than 10 cultivators flew over. 2 women among them attracted Lin Feng's attention. These 2 women were actually a pair of twin sisters. They looked exactly the same. They were tall and slender, and their faces were exquisite. This was the type of woman who had fair skin and a beautiful face. If it was just one woman, she wouldn't be that attractive. However, when the 2 sisters stood together, there was indeed a kind of shocking feeling. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a few more glances. Admiring beauty was something everyone liked to do. He was no exception. "What are you looking at? Do you believe that I won't gouge your eyes out?" One of the women noticed that Lin Feng was looking at the 2 sisters and immediately became fierce. She directly threatened Lin Feng. Lin Feng said indifferently, "How do you know I'm looking at you if you're not looking at me? I know that I'm very handsome and that everyone loves me. So if you want to look at me, you can look as much as you want. There's no need to be secretive, and there's no need to provoke me to get my attention. There are too many women who have fallen in love with me at first sight. How can I pay attention to all of them? Damn, this brother is too good at bragging, right?" The group of cultivators rolled their eyes. The female cultivator scolded, "How can you be so shameless? There are plenty of men like you on the streets, yet you're still acting so smug. What a joke. If you dare to peek at me again, I'll beat you into a pig's head." Lin Feng smiled and said, "I don't know if you can beat me into a pig's head or not, but you're already a pig's head if you don't get beaten up." Uffed. The others burst out laughing. Lin Feng was too good at mocking people. "This young lady is as beautiful as a flower, yet you dare to call this young lady a pig's head? This young lady will fight it out with you." The woman gnashed her teeth in anger. She was about to pounce on Lin Feng and fight Lin Feng to the death. However, she was pulled back by the woman beside her. "Sister, when you're outside, you must not cause trouble. This place is filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. It's not something our small place can compare to. If we provoke someone we can't afford to provoke, we will be in big trouble." The elder sister said. The woman snorted. "Him? I can't afford to provoke him? I'll beat him with one punch. Even though she didn't want to admit defeat, she still listened to her sister's advice and didn't attack Lin Feng. Humph! Before she left, she groaned at Lin Feng and waved her fist at him. Then she left. Actually, her personality was quite cute. Straightforward. Unlike Fairy Miao Qing, who looked like a goddess, but in reality, her heart was extremely dark. At night, Lin Feng barbecued meat in the mountain forest. Many people passed by and saw Lin Feng eating barbecued meat. They muttered in their hearts. People were digging for treasures, but this guy was eating barbecued meat. What a weirdo! Sister, look at that guy. He's actually cooking barbecued meat. I really don't know why he came to the forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland. Why can't he eat barbecued meat? He actually came to the forbidden land of Heaven Wasteland. If he has the time, he might as well dig for more treasures. The woman said. This woman was called Situ Menjiang. Her twin sister was called Situ Mengyu. The two sisters came from the divine realm of Heaven Wasteland, Qianshan City. This Qianshan City could only be considered a medium-sized city. There were a few families inside, but they weren't very powerful. The Situ family was one of them. Situ Mengyu and Situ Menjing were very talented. Although their family wasn't a big family, the two sisters had shown extraordinary cultivation talent since they were young. Now, they had cultivated to the peak of the true God realm. Even in the entire 9 prefectures, this level of cultivation was considered to be quite strong. Of course, the sisters were still young. Compared to those cultivators who had cultivated for many years, their strength was still lacking. But with their talent, it wasn't impossible for them to catch up. He's really a strange person. Situ Mengyu said. The two sisters then chose another place and began digging for treasures. The next day, Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage came out of seclusion. La 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 la. After the poison ancestor came out of seclusion, he immediately started to ramble on and on. Lin Feng was speechless. Did you cultivate your brain into an idiot? Du Zhu grinned and said, I'm just happy. The effect of this immortal Tao source is really too good. If I can get a bit more, I might be able to recover to the half-step emperor realm. Lin Feng said, it won't be easy to dig up something like this again. Let's try our luck again. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage nodded. The 3 of them continued digging. The harvest here was huge. Lin Feng's dragon searching formula played an important role. Dozens of giant divine warriors were dug out, and there were countless other treasures of all kinds. Not long after, Du Zhu dug up a corpse. This corpse had long been dried up and was very hard. After being dead for so many years, the corpse hasn't decayed. It's only dried up. Looks like it was an extremely powerful existence when it was alive. Du Zhu said. Lin Feng and the heretic sovereign sage nodded in agreement. At that moment, an incomparably shrill scream sounded. What the hell is this? Following that, a terrified scream sounded. Lin Feng and the other 2 were shocked. They hurriedly rushed out of the cave. At that moment, they saw an overwhelming black fog appear in the depths of the cave. In the black fog, there were densely packed monsters with green fur. Those monsters were attacking the cultivators digging for treasures in the treasure mountain. The green-furred monsters were practically invulnerable. Many cultivators used their magic treasures to attack those green-furred monsters, but those green-furred monsters didn't suffer any damage at all. Those green-furred monsters took the opportunity to pounce on those cultivators and bite their necks. Those cultivators let out incomparably shrill screams. But at that moment, a terrifying scene appeared. Those cultivators who were bitten by those green-furred monsters. Soon, green fur grew on their bodies. They turned into green-furred monsters and bit everyone they saw. Whoosh! At that moment, a green-furred monster rushed out of the cave behind Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage. The green-furred monster glanced at Lin Feng, Du Zhu, and the heretic sovereign sage. It discovered that Lin Feng's cultivation base was the lowest. It felt that Lin Feng was the easiest to deal with. Therefore, it pounced at Lin Feng as fast as lightning. Chapter 2149. Seeing the green-furred monster attacking Lin Feng, Du Zhu gloated. So this green-furred monster also knows how to bully the weak and fear the strong. Lin Feng glared at Du Zhu in annoyance. Then he raised his hand and sent the green-furred monster flying with a saber gleam. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint quickly rushed forward and suppressed the green-furred monster. Isn't this green-furred monster the corpse from before? Du Zhu said in surprise. Lin Feng took out his heavenly fire and burned the green-furred monster's green fur clean. The green-furred monster's true appearance was immediately revealed. It was indeed the corpse from before. Now, it had somehow turned into a green-furred monster. This is a green-furred zombie, a cursed corpse. The heretic sovereign saint said in a deep voice. The green-furred monster struggled violently, letting out a series of roars. The green fur on its body that had been burned clean by Lin Feng's fire actually grew out again. A cursed corpse? No wonder it's so strange. We can't stay here for long. Let's go, Lin Feng said. Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign saint nodded. The three of them were about to leave. Suddenly, a loud rumbling sound could be heard. The ground began to collapse. Endless corpse qi permeated the air. Countless green-furred monsters rushed out, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. A single green-furred monster was already so difficult to deal with. Moreover, there were simply too many green-furred monsters in front of them. There were about 20 to 30,000 cultivators gathered here. However, there were at least 10 times more green-furred monsters than cultivators. As far as the eye could see, there were countless of them. Damn, why are there so many green-furred monsters here? This couldn't have been a place to pile up corpses back then, right? Lin Feng said in shock. He thought of many possibilities. Du Zhu said, these green-furred monsters were extremely terrifying experts when they were alive. How could so many of them die at once? And they were all piled up in one place? This matter was indeed strange. Master, you must be careful. Don't get injured by these green-furred monsters. Once the corpse poison enters your body, it will be very troublesome. I know, Lin Feng said, although he had the white jade toad to detoxify the poison. However, there were simply too many green-furred monsters here. The green-furred monster was extremely poisonous, and it could attack continuously. When the time came, even the white jade toad wouldn't be able to detoxify it in time. Lin Feng and the other two quickly rushed outside. However, there were simply too many green-furred monsters. Soon, the three of them were separated. Roar, roar, roar. Hundreds of green-furred monsters rushed towards Lin Feng, blotting out the sky. Lin Feng was just about to break through the encirclement. Suddenly, he felt as if his head was about to split open. Curse technique. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. Someone had secretly cast a curse on him. At this time, a dense swarm of green-furred monsters had already rushed over. The situation was extremely dangerous. Shua. Lin Feng used the heaven patching technique, narrowly avoiding the fatal attacks of the green-furred monsters. Then, he used the great curse technique to dispel the curse on him. After the curse was dispelled, Lin Feng felt a little better in his head. Damn it, it's you! Lin Feng saw a familiar figure not far away. That pair of green eyes were looking at him. It was actually the curse doll. Gaga Gaga! Kid, you're good. You've learned the great curse technique in such a short time. The cursed doll laughed strangely. Damn it, I was almost killed by your scheme. Lin Feng rushed towards the cursed doll. Across the void, he threw a punch at the cursed doll. There were constantly green-furred monsters pouncing towards him. Lin Feng was multitasking. While attacking the cursed doll, he repelled all the green-furred monsters that pounced on him. The cursed doll moved horizontally and dodged Lin Feng's attack. Then, it hid among the green-furred monsters and disappeared without a trace. There were simply too many green-furred monsters here. As far as the eye could see, there were green-furred monsters everywhere. More than half of the 20,000 to 30,000 cultivators had been bitten by the green-furred monsters. Then, they turned into green-furred monsters. This was the most terrifying part. There might be a way to deal with the green-furred monsters' corpse poison, but if they were bitten by the green-furred monsters, there was nothing they could do about it. Lin Feng no longer hesitated and quickly rushed out. Suddenly, he saw hundreds of cultivators being surrounded by thousands of green-furred monsters. Those cultivators could not resist the attacks of the green-furred monsters at all. Their necks were constantly bitten by the monsters. Then, they turned into green-furred monsters. Only the two sisters managed to escape by relying on a supreme treasure to protect themselves. However, there were too many green-furred monsters. Before they could escape far, they were surrounded by the green-furred monsters again. "Sister, we're going to turn into green-furred monsters too," Situ Menjing said with a pale face. "We can definitely escape." Situ Mengyu's face was also as pale as a sheet. She was encouraging Situ Menjing. However, at this moment, their supreme treasure shattered under the attacks of the green-furred monsters. The densely packed green-furred monsters pounced on the sisters. The sisters' faces were as pale as paper. The situation before them made them feel incomparable despair. Bang! 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 Lin Feng rushed over and sent the green-furred monsters flying. "It's you?" The sisters looked at Lin Feng in shock. Originally, the sisters thought that Lin Feng was an ordinary young man. They did not expect Lin Feng to be so powerful. "Call me husband, and I'll save you," Lin Feng said with a smile. "Shameless." Situ Menjing could not help but curse. Situ Menyu's pretty face turned red. "In that case, I'll leave on my own," Lin Feng said with a smile. "Young master, can you really save us?" Situ Menyu asked. "Big sister, look." At this moment, Situ Menjing pointed into the distance and suddenly shouted in horror. The ground kept cracking open. More and more green-furred monsters rushed out. There were probably more than 1,000,000 of them. Many of these Corpse King rank green-furred monsters have appeared. Almost all of these Corpse King rank green-furred monsters have giant god cultivation bases. Lin Feng's facial expression became grave and solemn. The sisters were so frightened that their faces turned pale. Their bodies were trembling, and their expressions were full of despair. More than a dozen green-furred monsters pounced on Lin Feng's group. "We're dead," Situ Menjing said in horror. "We're doomed," Situ Menjing said in horror. Lin Feng took a deep breath and said, "Follow behind me." He walked forward step by step. Boom. Next, Lin Feng released epic haki from his body, protecting Situ Mingyu and Situ Menjing. The green-furred Corpse Kings were oppressed by Lin Feng's qi. They couldn't control their bodies anymore. They fell from the sky and crashed to the ground. Chapter 2150. How is this possible? That's a zombie king-level green-haired monster, which is equivalent to a giant god realm powerhouse, but it can't resist the aura emitted from his body. Situ Mingyu and Situ Menjing's faces were full of deep shock, and they couldn't believe their eyes. Not everyone had seen haki before. They didn't recognize the haki released by Lin Feng at all, and only thought that it was a special kind of aura. Aura itself had a powerful combat strength. But the two girls didn't know one thing. Aura couldn't be used for defense, and only by raising it to the level of haki could it be used for both offense and defense. Roar! 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 The densely packed green-haired monsters roared and rushed towards Lin Feng, Situ Mingyu, and Situ Menjing. However, no matter how many green-haired monsters rushed over, when they reached 10 meters from Lin Feng, all the green-haired monsters would fall from midair. Those green-haired monsters were stunned by the aura released from Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng rushed out of the dense green-haired monsters with Situ Mingyu and Situ Menjing. They didn't stop and quickly rushed into the distance. As for Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint, Lin Feng wasn't worried about their safety. With their abilities, they would have rushed out long ago. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? A low and cold voice came from the depths of the earth. The earth was still collapsing. Not long after, a huge stone coffin appeared. The voice came from the stone coffin. Bang! The lid of the stone coffin directly flew up into the sky. A red-haired monster sat up. The surrounding green-haired monsters all knelt on the ground, as if on a pilgrimage. After the red-haired monster stood up, he walked out of the stone coffin. He jumped lightly from the depths of the earth to the mountain forest. Looking around, the ground was full of green-haired monsters. This is the power of the curse. The red-haired monster looked at his body and gently touched the red hair on his body. His eyes flashed with endless coldness. Who dares to place such a curse on me? And who am I? Who can tell me who I am? The red-furred monster let out a series of low growls. The red hair on the surface of his body gradually receded into his body. The dense green hairs on the surface of the surrounding green-furred monsters also gradually retracted into their bodies. After the hair on the surface of these monsters entered their bodies, they all turned into dried corpses. Almighty fate, it will bestow upon us the power of new life. The red-furred monster turned into a tall mummy. He let out a deep voice, calling out to the mysterious Tao of destiny. Immediately after, waves of the power of destiny, falling from the sky, it swept across the world. The power of fate finally surged into the mummies' bodies. Dried corpses. Their bodies began to fill out. It didn't take long for the dried corpses to become exactly the same as normal people. This was the power of fate, powerful and mysterious. Lin Feng brought Situ Mingyu and Situ Menjing and flew for 15 kilometers before stopping. At this moment, Lin Feng could finally breathe a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous just now. With so many green-furred monsters, there must be an emperor among them. Fortunately, he came out in time. If he had waited for the emperor of the green-furred monsters to wake up, if he had wanted to escape, this was already not an easy task. Situ Mingyu and Situ Menjing had escaped death. Even now, they still felt as if they were in a dream. At this moment, they came back to their senses and bowed to Lin Feng. The two sisters said in unison, "Thank you for saving us, young master." "That's it. Is there something else you haven't said?" Lin Feng looked at the two delicate flowers in front of him with a smile. "What is it?" The two sisters looked at Lin Feng in confusion. "Thank you for saving us, young master. I have nothing to repay you with, but my body," Lin Feng said with a smile. Hearing Lin Feng's words, Situ Mingyu's face flushed red. She lowered her head, not daring to look at Lin Feng. She was usually a gentle and quiet girl. Therefore, she was more conservative. She was easily embarrassed. Situ Menjing, on the other hand, was impetuous and straightforward. She snorted and said, "Who asked you to save us? You were the one who wanted to save us. If you dare to take advantage of us again, I'll kill you with my sword." The girl threatened Lin Feng fiercely. Then she took out a sword, as if she really wanted to kill Lin Feng with it. Lin Feng stood up and sighed. Falling flowers have feelings, but the flowing water has no feelings. We'll meet again someday. After saying that, he flew away. He left in a carefree manner. "You bastard! How can you leave just like that? Come back quickly." Situ Menjing angrily stomped her feet. However, Lin Feng had already disappeared without a trace. She could no longer hear her shouts. This made Situ Menjing have an indescribable complex feeling in her heart. She was also very curious about Lin Feng. She just wanted to scare Lin Feng. She did not expect Lin Feng to leave just like that. Now, she did not even know Lin Feng's name or where he came from. After this parting, wouldn't it be very likely that they would never meet again? Thinking of this, Situ Menjing's heart could not help but feel deep regret. She should not have said those words to Lin Feng. However, she also felt wronged. How could this guy leave so easily? Don't you have any reluctance to part with us, two delicate beauties? Situ Menyu sighed and said, "Such a person is too far away from us. Let's go." Situ Menjing bit her lips and could not help but sigh. She left with Situ Menyu. Lin Feng quickly flew 10 kilometers away. Then he coldly said, "You've been following me for so long. Why haven't you come out yet? You're quite protective of the fairer sex. You know that you're going to die, so you didn't implicate the two sisters." A cold voice said. Following that, a black-clothed man walked out. The black-clothed man held a saber in his hand. An assassin? Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Someone from the longevity camp wants your life. Moreover, it's not just one faction that wants your life. The black-clothed man said with a sneer. "Which mission did your excellency accept?" Lin Feng's expression was still indifferent. "Missions from the Supreme Immortal Sect and the Evil Dragon Palace. I'm not talented, but I accepted them all. One faction wants your corpse, while the other doesn't want your corpse. They only want your life. Killing you is just nice. Not bad, not bad," the black-clothed assassin said sinisterly. "I'm afraid that you won't be able to kill me." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. "What if you include us?" A hoarse voice said. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 35 black-clothed assassins rushed out of the forest and surrounded Lin Feng. Chapter 2151. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes as he looked at the 36 assassins around him. These 36 assassins had powerful auras, and their cultivation bases were unfathomable. Lin Feng also noticed something shocking. The breathing rate of these 36 assassins was exactly the same. That was a little too scary. "You guys shouldn't be nameless people, right?" Lin Feng asked calmly. "Reincarnation sect. 36 hell emissaries." The first assassin to appear said. He was the leader of the 36 hell emissaries. Reincarnation sect is an assassin organization? Lin Feng asked calmly. The longevity camp was not an assassin organization. Instead, it was a powerful intermediary organization. Anyone could issue missions in the longevity camp. Some of the assassin organizations that were connected to the longevity camp, some of the rogue cultivators, and some of the experts from the major forces could accept these missions. However, if one did not have connections, no matter how tempting the rewards of the missions in the longevity camp were, they would not be able to claim them. One of the top assassin organizations in the 9 prefectures. What? You don't even know this? The leader of the 36 hell emissaries looked at Lin Feng mockingly. Lin Feng said calmly, "I have no interest in organizations like you that live in the dark. Is it strange that I don't know? You know now, but you're still going to die." The leader of the 36 hell emissaries sneered. Back then, an assassin organization tried to assassinate me again and again. However, I eradicated them in the end. Lin Feng chuckled. Even though he was surrounded by the 36 hell emissaries, he was still very calm. He had seen too many storms and waves. Although the 36 hell emissaries were very scary, Lin Feng believed that he could deal with them. Is that so? Looks like that assassin organization is very weak. The leader of the 36 hell emissaries drew his saber. Most assassins use swords as weapons. Swords could be made as thin as a cicada's wings, making them easy to carry around. They could even be wrapped around the waist. Moreover, when killing with a sword, swords were very thin. Therefore, the air friction created was very small, making it easier to hide the body. Many people were assassinated before they could even react. But sabers were different. Sabers required strength, so sabers were generally thicker. When one used a saber to kill someone, they would usually infuse their strength into the saber. This would easily cause intense air friction. It was also easy to be discovered. Therefore, assassins usually chose to use swords instead of knives. The saber is 5 feet 9 inches, 3 inches wide, and 1 inch and 2 centimeters thick. Its name is Blood Drinker. The leader of the 36 hell emissaries introduced his treasured saber. This was an extremely terrifying killing blade. It was unknown just how much blood it had been stained with. Now, it seemed to know that it needed to drink blood again. As a result, it emitted a series of trembling sounds. The rest of the assassins also drew their weapons. These people's weapons were all sabers. Lin Feng quickly understood why these people were using sabers. These assassins were different from other assassins. Other assassins were all assassins. The target was assassinated without a sound. As for the 36 hell envoys, they did not practice the Tao of assassination. These people attacked together, besieging their target, since it was a siege. Naturally, there was no need to consider whether using a weapon like a saber would alert the target in advance. A saber was obviously more suitable as a weapon than a sword. Blood Drinker! Blood Drinker! You are about to drink blood again. The leader of the 36 hell emissaries gently wiped the Blood Drinker saber. It was as gentle as if he was treating his lover. It's just a broken saber. If I throw it on the ground, I won't even bother looking at it. Is there a need to wipe it so carefully? Lin Feng curled his lips as he said, "Kid, how dare you insult my Blood Drinker saber? You deserve to die. Attack!" The leader of the 36 hell emissaries could not help but shout coldly. He gripped the Blood Drinker saber with both hands. The rest of the hell emissaries also gripped their treasured sabers and pointed them at Lin Feng. Lin Feng curled his lips. The hell emissaries send the dead into the netherworld. You assassins have the nerve to call yourselves hell emissaries. Do you have any shame? You deserve to die 10,000 times. Hearing Lin Feng's ridicule, the rest of the assassins roared furiously. These assassins killed countless people every year. Thus, they were usually very violent. Naturally, they could not tolerate being ridiculed. Dragon kill! The leader of the 36 hell emissaries shouted coldly. Shua! He swung his saber at Lin Feng. The other 36 hell emissaries also swung their sabers at Lin Feng. The auras of these people were actually connected together. Roar! A series of dragon roars resounded throughout the area. Dazzling sword lights suddenly turned into dragons bearing their fangs and brandishing their claws as they moved towards Lin Feng. 36 evil dragons instantly pounced. Just as the dragons were about to hit Lin Feng, they transformed into saber gleams. Great defensive art. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He had used the great defensive art to create a defensive crystal wall. Clang! Clang! When the saber light slashed the defensive crystal wall, the saber light slashed the defensive crystal wall. Clang! 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 36 saber gleams. All of them were blocked by the defensive crystal wall. Lin Feng immediately stepped into the void. The power of death permeates the heavens and the earth. The river of death traverses the past and present. The eternal river of death. Come out quickly and reap the lives of these lowly creatures who have blasphemed the hell emissaries. Lin Feng began to chant the incantation for the great death art. A series of deep and mysterious voices resounded throughout the area. As his voice faded away, a loud rumbling sound was heard. A river of death that traversed the heavens and the earth appeared. The river of death swept across the heavens. It traversed the past, the present, and the future. It directly enveloped the 36 hell emissaries. The 36 hell emissaries were unable to dodge. All of them were enveloped by the river of death. One after another, the gods of death appeared in the river of death. Those death gods, all of them pounced at the 36 hell emissaries. Kid, you can even summon the river of death. You are really powerful. Today, we, the 36 hell emissaries, will let you have a taste of the power of the death gods, /. The leader of the 36 hell emissaries sneered. Death gods, /. Immediately after, the 36 hell emissaries shouted at the same time. Their auras connected together, and then they slashed out a peerless slash. All of the saber gleams, all of them gathered together and formed a dazzling saber gleam. Then that saber gleam actually split the river of death that Lin Feng had formed. Bang! The river of death was directly shattered. However, that dazzling saber gleam did not dissipate because of this. Instead, it tore through the void and quickly slashed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly moved to the left, wanting to avoid the saber gleam's attack. However, he was shocked to find that, no matter how he dodged, he was unable to avoid the terrifying saber gleam. This saber gleam, it did not slash Lin Feng. It was unwilling to give up. Chapter 2152. The killer god's single blade slash was indeed powerful. It made Lin Feng shudder with fear. However, Lin Feng's means were also unimaginable. In the face of this terrifying attack, lightning surrounded his hands. Lin Feng performed the Great Thunderclap art recorded in the 3000 Great Tao. The 3000 Great Tao was violent and domineering. Once it was unleashed, it could destroy everything in its path. Boom! The Great Thunderclap art was unleashed. The lightning and the dazzling blade light collided. Clang! Suddenly, a series of sonorous and powerful collision sounds were heard. It was as if two peerless divine weapons had collided. The attacks from both sides were broken. 9 cycle of reincarnation, immortal slaying slash. Whoosh! The leader of the 36 hell envoys roared again and slashed his blade toward Lin Feng. That terrifying blade seemed to be able to slaughter a group of immortals. The power of this blade was even stronger than the killer god's single blade slash. Clang! The two sides collided again. This time, Lin Feng was sent flying thousands of meters away. What a terrifying attack! Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. The saber had left a deep wound on his arm, so deep that his bones could be seen. However, Lin Feng activated his immortal divine body. His injury was instantly healed. Then, he began to perform the great curse art. The cooperation of these assassins was almost impeccable. However, the great curse art was different. It was strange enough that it could attack anyone silently. Puff, puff, puff. After Lin Feng performed the great curse art, the chests of 3 assassins were pierced through silently. Then screams were heard. The 3 assassins' faces were as pale as paper. They didn't die immediately, but they were seriously injured. Cursart, the leader of the 36 Hell envoys, was very knowledgeable. When he saw that his 3 subordinates were injured, he knew that Lin Feng performed the curse art. He knew how strange the curse art was. Therefore, he didn't dare to hesitate and quickly took out a golden jade talisman. The golden jade talisman flew out and floated above the heads of these people. Rays of golden light shone down, protecting everyone. When Lin Feng used the curse technique to attack these people again, he suddenly realized that the curse technique seemed to have lost its effect. He could no longer harm this group of assassins. You blocked my curse technique? Lin Feng frowned slightly. He looked at the jade talisman. The reason why the curse had lost its effect was because of the mysterious jade talisman that the 36 envoys of Hell had used. That jade talisman was extremely strange. There were too many capable people in the world who could resist the art of curses. Therefore, it was not strange that such a treasure could be smithied. Brat, I can't use the curse technique. Let's see how you die now. The eyes of the leader of the 36 Hell emissaries were filled with dense killing intent. Whoosh! These people attacked again. Chaos sky-splitting blade. The group of assassins attacked at the same time. Their auras were connected, and even their attacks were stacked together. The chaos sky-splitting slash's power was extremely terrifying. It directly split heaven and earth, locked onto Lin Feng's figure, and slashed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. He used the stoneman watching the sea of clouds, an offensive divine ability that was at the half-immortal level. This divine ability instantly broke the attacks of the group of assassins. Then, Lin Feng used the 8 directional worlds to rush into the group of assassins. The Dracophan arm was activated. His arm became incomparably thick. His strength increased crazily. Bang, bang, bang. Lin Feng threw out punch after punch. One assassin after another was sent flying by Lin Feng. These people couldn't withstand the attacks of the Dracophan arm at all. Their bodies exploded in midair. In the blink of an eye, 7 to 8 assassins were killed by Lin Feng. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the leader of the 36 Hell emissaries were filled with endless killing intent. Ghost Saber Slash. With a cold shout, he became one with the saber and slashed towards Lin Feng. At that moment, it was as if there was only this saber between heaven and earth. This was the saber intent, and it was an extremely powerful saber intent. The leader of the 36 Hell emissaries directly pulled Lin Feng into the saber intent. He forcefully restrained Lin Feng's movements. Then, he killed Lin Feng in one blow. Kill him. The rest of the assassins were also filled with killing intent. Seeing that Lin Feng was restrained by the saber intent, they all attacked Lin Feng. Lin Feng, your death is here. At this moment, a woman flew over from afar. It was none other than Fairy Miao Qing. Fairy Miao Qing was also hiding in the surrounding forest. However, Fairy Miao Qing hadn't shown herself before. She was waiting for a rare opportunity. Now, this opportunity was finally waiting for her. Seeing that this opportunity had arrived, Fairy Miao Qing didn't hesitate to attack Lin Feng. Ever since she had shed all pretense of cordiality, Fairy Miao Qing had already decided to kill Lin Feng. At this moment, Fairy Miao Qing condensed a 4-sided seal and attacked Lin Feng. Mountains, rivers, scorching suns, divine moons, ancient forests, and so on appeared on the 4-sided seal. This divine ability was called Heaven, Earth, Sun, Moon Seal. It evolved the mysteries of heaven and earth and deduced the changes of the sun and moon. Its power was boundless. Boom! In another direction, a terrifying aura spread out. Wu Qianquan walked over. His body was surrounded by Emperor Qi. Like a young emperor, he walked over with majestic steps and punched towards Lin Feng. Above his fist, a bright, starry sky condensed. Billions of stars. No one knew what kind of terrifying divine ability it was. The attacks of so many experts simply made one feel despair. Lin Feng looked indifferent when facing those people's attacks. Epic dominance. Boom. Once the dominance was released, who could fight against it? Bang, 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 bang. Everyone was pushed back by the dominance released by Lin Feng. Sword blade storm. Lin Feng roared and soared into the sky. This sword blade storm was a supreme sword technique recorded in the 9th level of the Raging Waves sword technique. It was extremely powerful. With Lin Feng as the center, a huge amount of sword qi emerged from his body and formed a hurricane. These sword qi were infused with the power of dominance. Therefore, it was extremely terrifying. Retreat. Everyone's expression changed, and they quickly retreated. However, not everyone could escape from Lin Feng's attack. Uft, uft, uft. Ripping sounds could be heard. One by one, the assassins were killed by Lin Feng. In the end, only Wu Qianquan, Fairy Miao Qing, and the leader of the 36 Hell emissaries managed to dodge Lin Feng's attack. The rest were all killed by Lin Feng. Little bastard, I'm going to tear you into pieces. Seeing the rest of the assassins being killed, the eyes of the leader of the 36 Hell emissaries turned blood red. He roared furiously and wanted to fight to the death with Lin Feng. Fairy Miao Qing and Wu Qianquan looked indifferent. The two of them also started to prepare a new attack. They wanted to attack Lin Feng together with the leader of the 36 Hell emissaries, Fairy Miao Qing, Wu Qianquan, and the leader of the 36 Hell emissaries all had extremely terrifying hidden moves. They believed that once they used these moves, Lin Feng would be dead for sure. Keek keek. At this moment, a sinister laughter could be heard from afar. Chapter 21:53. Endless black fog rolled and swept across the land. Within the black fog was a man in a black robe. No one knew who he was. His aura was so terrifying that it was suffocating. Run, run, run. When they saw the terrifying man in the black robe, Wu Qianquan and Fairy Miao Qing, who were about to attack Lin Feng, changed their expressions. They seemed to know the man in the black robe and turned to flee. Oh no, it's him, the great demonic god. The leader of the 36 Hell emissaries also changed his expression. Without thinking, he turned and fled. What's going on? Lin Feng was stunned. He did not know why these people were avoiding the man in the black robe as if he was a ghost. Lin Feng did not dare to stay and ran away. He, kid, don't go, don't go. Let me eat you. The man in the black robe swept up the endless devil fog and chased after Lin Feng. A blood-curdling sound came from his throat. That sound, it was like the roar of a ghost. It made Lin Feng feel a chill down his spine. Why don't you go and eat Su Miaoqing? She's a delicate beauty, and her skin is so tender. I'm a man, and my flesh is so hard. Lin Feng shouted. He. The man in the black robe laughed, weirdly again, and said, How can Su Miaoqing's flesh be compared to yours? I want to eat your flesh and drink your blood. Your bloodline is so powerful that it makes my heart burn. The man in the black robe shouted, Damn, can you not be so disgusting? Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. Kid, go to hell. The man in the black robe waved his hand. Suddenly, the devil chi condensed into a ferocious demonic god and pounced on Lin Feng. The demonic god's speed was too fast. Like a black lightning bolt, he arrived in front of Lin Feng in a flash. Lin Feng looked indifferent as he threw a punch at him. Bang! The Dracophant arm collided with the demonic god. Lin Feng felt as if his body was hit by an ancient mountain. His body was sent flying by the impact. His blood and qi churned. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn, that's too perverted. Lin Feng's expression was gloomy. He turned around and continued running. You can't escape. What you're doing is useless. You can't escape your fate of becoming my food. The man in the black robe. Who are you? Asked Lin Feng gloomily. You don't even know who I am? The man in the black robe. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes and say, if I knew who you were, would I still ask you? I am the great demonic god. Alas, the demonic god was disappointed. Lin Feng's expression didn't change at all. He even muttered, who is the demonic god? Is he famous? The demonic god's mouth twitched. You don't even know who the demonic god is? Which mountain did you crawl out from? The demonic god looked at Lin Feng with disdain as he spoke. Lin Feng continued running. Who the hell knows who you are? Is it strange that I don't know who you are? The demonic god said coldly, you're so ignorant. You don't even know the demonic god, who was ranked first on the Heaven's Pride ranking. Isn't it just the Heaven's Pride ranking? Look at how arrogant you are. I thought you were ranked first on the sovereign ranking. Lin Feng mocked. Lin Feng's mockery infuriated the demonic god. This brat dares to look down on me? How preposterous! The demonic god decided to reveal a little more about his identity. This brat would definitely be scared out of his wits once he learned of his identity. Thinking of this, the demonic god revealed a smug expression and said, Brat, do you know what race I am? I'm not interested. Lin Feng replied indifferently. The demonic god wanted to cry. He had already prepared a speech, but Lin Feng's reply had made him swallow his words. Why was this brat asking to be taught a lesson? The demonic god no longer wanted to eat Lin Feng. He had decided to teach Lin Feng a lesson after capturing Lin Feng. He wanted to make Lin Feng feel like he was going to die. That was the only way. Only then could the demonic god vent the anger in his heart. The demonic god took a deep breath. Although Lin Feng didn't want to know about his race, the demonic god still decided to tell Lin Feng. The demonic god really wanted to see Lin Feng's shocked and terrified expression when he learned about his race. Thinking of this, the demonic god's lips curled into a cold smile. He said, Brat, listen carefully. I, the demonic god, am a member of the demonic god race. 2,000 years ago, I walked out of the sealed stone. Oh, so you're a member of the demonic god race. Lin Feng replied indifferently. Seeing Lin Feng's nonchalant attitude, the demonic god was stunned. The demonic god was stunned. Shouldn't this brat be shocked? Shouldn't he be terrified? Why does this guy look so calm and collected? Could it be that her identity did not cause any emotional stimulation or shock to him? Did I not hear clearly? The demonic god consoled himself. The demonic god decided to tell Lin Feng his identity again. This time, the demonic god's voice was much louder, practically roaring as he revealed his identity. I said, I'm a member of the demonic god race. Did you hear clearly? The demonic god's roar was so loud that even people dozens of kilometers away could hear it clearly. Many birds and beasts in the forest were so frightened that they lay on the ground, trembling. Lin Feng was speechless. What are you shouting for? I'm not deaf. Of course I can hear what you're saying. The demonic god muttered to himself. Can't hear what I'm saying? Why does this brat still look so indifferent? Do you know about the demonic god race? The demonic god asked Lin Feng. He even felt that Lin Feng might not know how powerful the demonic god race was. After all, he didn't know which mountain this guy came from. The race with 3 heads and 6 arms, right? Lin Feng glanced at the demonic god and pursed his lips. The great demon god actually had the urge to cry. So, you know about the demonic god race? The demonic god decided to transform into his true form to shock Lin Feng. "I'll transform into..." The demonic god growled. He transformed into his three-headed, six-armed form. He then looked at Lin Feng smugly. At that moment, he realized that Lin Feng had already turned around and sped up, leaving the demonic god 7 or 8 kilometers behind. The demonic god had even torn his clothes in order to transform. This brat didn't even look at him. The demonic god was about to go crazy. He roared furiously, "Brat, don't run. I'll tear you apart."